My name is Chun Yong, an ordinary shut-in guy, about as ordinary as they come. That afternoon, I was sprawled on my couch at home, one hand busy with a mobile game, whistling a little tune. The game I was playing was a summoner RPG. A few days earlier, I'd used a cheat program to load my account with a full 10 billion free attribute points. That character was insanely overpowered, and I was having the time of my life. But right in the middle of my whistling, everything suddenly went black. When I opened my eyes again, I wasn't home anymore. I was standing on a massive raised platform, and packed tightly below my feet were several thousand people, all wearing identical school uniforms, every single pair of eyes locked onto me. Beside me stood a crystal stone about waist-high, crystal clear and gleaming, like it was part of some sacred ceremony. And me? I was still wearing baggy shorts, flip-flops, and an oversized t-shirt, clutching my phone that hadn't even powered off. My mind went completely blank right then and there. I'd read plenty of transmigration novels over the years, so I knew all the tropes. Getting run over by a cement truck, getting stabbed in the back by an ex-girlfriend, getting electrocuted in the bathroom, then opening your eyes in another world. But what the heck was this? I didn't do anything. I just whistled, and boom, I was here. They didn't even give me a decent set of clothes. Talk about half-assed. Just as I was looking around, trying to figure out where I was, an ice-cold female voice exploded right next to my ear. Jin Yong, what do you think you're doing? I looked up and saw a gorgeous young woman in black-framed glasses standing in front of me. White blouse, pencil skirt, black stockings. Her whole look was practically stamped from the same mold as the boss lady at the shop where I used to work part-time. But right now she was glaring at me with a cold, pretty face, a look so icy it could have cracked her glasses. I flinched and instinctively wanted to explain, but I had no idea what I was supposed to be doing. My hand trembled, and somehow I ended up touching a spot I absolutely shouldn't have. The young woman's face flushed bright red in an instant. She was shaking with fury, pointing at me as she screamed, "I told you to press your hand on the crystal stone, not to." And right in that moment, so awkward I wanted to curl my toes through the floor, the crystal stone beside me suddenly let out a mechanical voice. Ding. Class change successful. Chin Yong. Necromancer. White F-rank talent. The whole place went dead silent. Then, all at once, thousands of students burst into deafening laughter. Ha ha ha, I'm dying. Chin Yong's lost his mind. A white F-rank combat class. How unlucky can this dude even get? Groping the dean in front of the entire school. Now that takes guts. The entire courtyard went from a solemn ceremony to a rowdy street market in a flash. The gorgeous young woman standing on the platform, Qin Bing, the dean of this Yunyang Academy, was so angry her face had gone from red to green. She barked out a sharp command, saying anyone who dared make another sound would get a formal demerit on their record. That one shout actually worked. Thousands of students instantly fell silent. After all, they were about to graduate and enter society, and nobody could stomach a black mark on their permanent file. But at that moment, standing up on the platform, I honestly couldn't care less what they were laughing about. Because the instant my class change went through, a status panel had flashed up right in front of my eyes. I knew that panel all too well. Class, Necromancer. Level 1, Strength, Agility, Constitution, all in the single digits. Only my spirit stats stood at 21. But what really made my scalp tingle was the line at the very bottom. Free attribute points, 1 billion. I stared at that number, and the corners of my mouth started curling up on their own. I got it now. I hadn't just transmigrated. I'd brought my cheated-out game account over completely intact. Those 10 billion attribute points I'd farmed with the cheat program in the mobile game had all followed me into this world, down to the last point. White talent, F-rank trash class. None of that meant a thing in the face of a billion attribute points. It was all just paper. But I quickly reined in the wild excitement bubbling inside me. The most urgent thing wasn't to start living it up. It was to first figure out exactly what kind of world this was. I looked over at Qin Bing beside me and put on a friendly smile. Hey there, beautiful. I wanted to ask you something. Qin Bing nearly passed out. She was a dean, a high-level classer, and she'd first been publicly humiliated by a student. And now that student had the nerve to call her that to her face. Her expression darkened, and she squeezed a few words out through gritted teeth, telling me to never appear before her eyes again, or she'd plant me in a flower pot. Seeing that she really was at her breaking point, I bolted off the platform. The crowd below erupted in laughter all over again. I didn't dare linger. I slipped straight into the Academy library and started flipping through this world's history books. Only after reading did I get a rough idea of where I'd landed. This world was called Blue Earth, and it wasn't even in the same dimension as the Earth I came from. 5,000 years ago, this planet had been invaded by countless eerie worlds. The entire world had begun to gradually turn insubstantial, and rifts, dungeon fractures of all sizes, had cracked open everywhere. Undead calamities, alien demons, mechanical constructs, all of them came pouring out of these rifts into the real world. Thankfully, heaven never seals off every escape route. Just as the eerie forces descended, awakening crystals fell from the sky. These could help ordinary people undergo a class change and awaken, gaining the power to fight the monsters. Once awakened, people could grow stronger by hunting monsters inside the dungeons and leveling up. Pile up enough levels, and you could even wield power rivaling gods and Buddhas. According to the history books, the strongest classer alive today was over level 2500, had lived for more than 2,000 years, and was basically an immortal walking the earth. But this world had one iron law that I remembered crystal clear. If a monster killed you inside a dungeon, you died for real. I had no idea whether I, as a transmigrator, was an exception, but I only had one life, and I sure as hell wasn't going to gamble with it. I also figured out just how miserable that white F-rank talent really was. Talents were divided into 7 grades, from the lowest F-rank, white, all the way up to the top-tier S-rank gold. A white talent came with only a single, most garbage-tier trait, while a gold talent came with a whole pile of legendary traits. The truly lucky ones could even roll double gold or triple gold. Those people were born to become gods. Normally, people with white F-rank talents ended up as logistics grunts doing odd jobs. They had no business being in a combat class at all. A necromancer with a blank slate talent like me was, to put it bluntly, someone who'd awakened for nothing. Because under normal circumstances, a person had to grind to over 100 levels before a single attribute stat could even reach 5,000 points. And me? I started out with 1 billion. I stared at the panel and did some quick math. If I dumped all my points into spirit, I alone could summon 200,000 skeleton soldiers. 200,000. By then I could crack sunflower seeds while my army steamrolled every dungeon flat. The thought got me too worked up to sit still. First I had to test whether these attribute points could actually be spent. What if it was all just for show and I couldn't add anything? Then this whole transmigration would have been for nothing. I reached out and lightly tapped the plus sign next to the spirit stat. Ding. Spirit, 22. It really works. I got so excited my hands were shaking. See, my skeleton summoning spell drew 100% of its damage from spirit. The higher I stacked spirit, the harder my skeletons would hack people down. So for the next hour, I frantically tapped that plus sign like a man possessed. Half an hour later, my spirit stat had shot up past 25,000. I could summon 6 skeleton soldiers in one go, each dealing 25,000 damage per swing. And I'd only used a tiny sliver of my attribute points. I still had over 999 million left. I felt fantastic. At this rate, forget dungeons and calamities. Even if the legendary Lich King himself leaped out, he'd have to kneel on the ground and call me daddy. Just as I was quietly reveling in it, that ice-cold voice rang in my ear again. Chen, what are you doing sitting here? I turned around, and there was Qin Bing standing there with a cold face again. This time, though, her tone was a bit softer. Even though I'd embarrassed her in front of everyone up on that platform earlier, she didn't actually hold a real grudge against me. She said my spirit talent wasn't bad, told me to remember to go collect my class card, and reminded me that an F-rank talent didn't mean I was completely finished. Later on, once I saved up enough money to buy a class change item, I could still change into a better, rarer class. Finally, she lowered her voice and advised me to first head to the dungeon hall and find a small legion willing to take on newbies, so I could get my basic gear and levels up. She said there was a class change quest at level 20, and without someone guiding me, it'd be easy to get killed. I thanked the dean out loud, but inside I was snickering. Find a legion to carry me? I had cheats going. What did I need teammates for? I collected my class card. The thing looked like an employee ID badge, but it actually functioned like a phone, All my identity info in this world was tied to it. On a whim, I checked the bank balance. 100 yuan and 86 fun. Great. Looks like my identity over here was also a dirt-poor orphan without a penny to my name. Card in hand, I headed straight for the dungeon hall in Yunyang City. The place looked like an airport terminal, with several massive screens overhead scrolling all kinds of information. Legions recruiting members, people offering to carry newbies for a fee, even girls posting ads looking for a husband to run dungeons with. At the very top of the screens, in bold, oversized letters, were the clear time records for each dungeon, and every record holder was some Legion big shot. The hall was packed with classers in all sorts of strange outfits. Guys hauling swords, guys strapped with shields, guys carrying staves, and even a sexy woman in a green leather swimsuit riding a white tiger. I picked a dungeon entrance at random and walked over. The screen read, Level 15 Dungeon, Plague Town. Dungeons had 3 difficulties: normal, hard, and heroic. Since I wasn't familiar with this world yet, I played it safe and picked the lowest, normal. I handed over my class card, and the staff member's face changed instantly. You changed classes just today, and you want to enter a level 15 dungeon? How many are in your party? He asked, glancing behind me as he spoke. Just me, I said. He thought he'd misheard. Out of kindness, he tried to talk me out of it, explaining that the monsters inside had level suppression. A level 1 newbie like me would be spotted the moment I stepped in, with nowhere to hide. I ignored that and asked him instead how much health the biggest boss had. He said 38,000. I grinned inwardly. More than enough. On the ride over in the cab, I'd secretly added a lot more points. My spirit stat was now over 45,000, enough to summon 10 skeleton soldiers, each dealing over 40,000 per swing. Forget 38,000. Even a monster with 100,000 health would go down to 2 swings from a single skeleton. Seeing that I wouldn't budge no matter what he said, the staff member had no choice. He stuffed a white town return talisman into my hand, sighed, and told me to activate it and run the moment anything fell off. I took the talisman and, without a backward glance, stepped through the black portal, leaving behind a crowd of stunned faces. After a wave of ringing in my ears, everything went dark then bright, and I found myself standing in a mountain forest. Above me was a blood-red sky. Gray mist slowly sank downward, and deep in the fog far off, I could just make out a ruined, sinister little town. A ring of faint golden light glowed beneath my feet, and a line of text popped up before my eyes. Blessing of the Ancients. Upon entering the dungeon, you may conceal your presence and be immune to damage, but the moment you attack, this protection will vanish. Not bad. They even gave me a grace period. Before I'd even finished that thought, a series of roars came from the fog in the distance. Several staggering figures shuffled my way. With a flick of my thoughts, health bars appeared over their heads. Starving rotting corpse, level 12, for 1,300 health. From their mushy, decayed appearance, they were probably townsfolk turned into zombies by the calamity. I didn't hesitate for a second. I started chanting the summoning incantation. The instant the spell left my mouth, the ground beneath me erupted with a boom. Green light burst out, and the earth split open into a crack 7 or 8 meters wide, from which came the sound of bones clattering. Then, 10 skeleton soldiers, wreathed in black mist, green light glowing in their eyes, long swords in hand, crawled out of the crack and lined up beside me. At that exact moment, the blessing above my head also vanished. The distant town seemed to come alive. Countless zombies caught my scent and came charging out, while those starving, rotting corpses lunged at me, claws bared. Exclamation marks popped up simultaneously over all 10 skeleton soldiers' heads, and their long swords came slashing down in unison. Minus 43,000, minus 42,000, minus 43,000. Those rotting corpses' health bars were emptied before I could even read them, and they all collapsed to the ground with a series of thuds. Ding. Killed level 12, starving rotting corpse. Gained 86 experience. A stream of kill notifications flashed before my eyes, and finally, congratulations. You have reached level 2. I nodded, satisfied. I'd read up on it in the library. An ordinary 5-person party clearing an entire level 1 dungeon only got about 500 experience, so reaching level 2 meant running it twice. The fastest record on the books was a Legion's main accounts taking turns carrying an alt, with the alt eating and living inside the dungeon, and even that took a full 5 days. And me? One wave, 10 zombies flattened, instant level up. Cheating really is the best. I pushed my way deeper into the town. Half-crawling, rotting corpses kept dragging themselves out of the underbrush, but my skeleton soldiers took a head off with each swing, sending them rolling and thudding across the ground. After clearing 30 crawling corpses, I hit level 3. I wanted to walk up and kick a few bodies for some loot, but the corpses dissolved into black mist the moment I touched them. Nothing dropped. My pockets were emptier than my face. I'd been counting on getting rich overnight off this dungeon, so this was a bit of a letdown. Just as I reached a small river bridge, 60 or 70 zombies came stampeding at me from ahead, followed by a fat zombie dragging a big cleaver, an iron rod jammed straight through its skull, clearly a mini-boss. The sight made my scalp tingle. No wonder nobody dared bring alts to this dungeon. It was pure suicide. But what I didn't expect was that the 2 skeleton soldiers I'd sent ahead to scout didn't dumbly charge onto the bridge. Instead, they cleverly held the bridgehead, obviously planning to use the bridge's narrow choke point to bottleneck the zombies and kill them one by one. I was floored on the spot. These skeletons could actually think. So I just sent 6 more over to help. 8 long swords held the bridgehead, and with the zombies crowded onto the bridge, only a few could come across at a time. The moment one showed its head, it was a 40,000-plus sword strike, heads flying off one after another like sliced watermelons. Experience poured in, and I climbed all the way to level 5. That mini-boss, the gluttonous butcher, finally charged up with a roar. 8 blades came down on it at once. Its 17,000 health hit rock bottom in an instant, and its whole body got chopped into a dozen pieces, collapsing to the ground like toppled building blocks. Ding! Killed level 16 gluttonous butcher. Obtained item, butcher's beheading blade. My eyes lit up. This was the first piece of gear I'd gotten. I opened it up, a green quality 2-handed warrior blade. Not worth much, but hey, income's income. I crossed the wooden bridge and quickly made my way to the town's central plaza. The scene before me made me suck in a sharp breath. Hundreds upon hundreds of zombies were kneeling densely in the plaza, all praying toward a raised platform. Standing on that platform was a man in a black robe, flailing his arms and shrieking gibberish. On a cross beside him was a little girl in a white dress, tied down. All those zombies had red names, but the little girl had a yellow name, clearly a neutral NPC. And that black-robed man was the final boss of this plagued town. I casually waved my hand, and 8 skeleton soldiers charged in. The zombies were all bowed in prayer, and only the ones directly next to a target that got hit would be alerted. So the whole thing turned into a one-sided massacre. 8 skeleton soldiers plowing through the crowd, experience skyrocketing. I just sat at the plaza entrance, continuing to add attribute points while leisurely soaking up the XP. By the time all of the nearly 300 monsters in the plaza, plus the 100-something on the outer edges, were cleared, I'd reached level 9.5. That black-robed boss, a level 18 wizard, was eventually surrounded by the 8 skeleton soldiers. Kneeling on the ground, he rasped out "damned invaders" before getting hacked to death by a flurry of swords. Ding! Congratulations. You have reached level 10. Dungeon cleared. The town return talisman lit up automatically, and a settlement panel popped up before my eyes. Clear time, 17 minutes, 34 seconds. Rating, SSS. You have set a new fastest clear record. Achievement reward, 150,000 experience, plus an achievement treasure chest. That 150,000 experience hit me all at once, and I shot up 3 levels in a row. Ding, 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 jumping straight to level 13. I hadn't even fully processed it before I'd already turned this world upside down. Because the instant I teleported out, that massive screen outside the dungeon hall flashed with a new announcement. Plague Town Normal Difficulty Dungeon Record Broken. Record holder, Chen Yong, level 13 Necromancer. Clear time, 17 minutes, 34 seconds. The entire hall exploded in an instant. See, a party of 5 fully geared level 15 classers would need several hours to clear this. Especially those few hundred monsters clustered in the plaza. Pull one wrong, and you'd have to hit the return talisman and flee. And now here was a 17-minute record, done solo, no less. Holy crap, are my eyes playing tricks on me? What kind of godlike record is this? This kid definitely found a bug. Give me a break. Even if you had the bug, could you wipe out every monster in 17 minutes? This is at least an S-rank gold talent prodigy. Someone snapped a photo of the screen and posted it online, and it set off a firestorm. Yunyang number 2 high school's forum straight up blew up. Chen Yong? Isn't that the dude who flashed his big sword at Dean Xin Bing this afternoon? No way, absolutely not. That guy's a white talent necromancer. Total garbage. Exactly. This person's already level 13. I just barely hit level 2 even with someone carrying me. Gotta be some prodigy with the same name. Nobody could believe that the good-for-nothing who'd made a fool of himself that afternoon was the same guy behind this record-shattering legend. And me? I was walking out of the black portal with my head down. Everyone's eyes were glued to the screen. Not a single person noticed that the legend himself was strolling right past them, bold as you please, slipping through without a soul catching on. I found a restroom and couldn't wait to open the treasure chest. What else could I do? I was flat broke right now and needed to scrape together some cash to keep myself afloat. The dungeon's purple chest yielded a pile of healing potions and mana potions, plus a warrior skill book, Berserk, and a blue-quality plague sword. In this world, gear and skill books sold for astronomical prices. Any random class skill book went for thousands or tens of thousands of yuan, because unlike in a game, there were no NPCs selling them at fixed prices here. Everything had to be slowly farmed out of dungeons. These 2 items alone could net me a decent chunk of money. But the achievement chest, the one you could only get by setting a new record, held something that caught my attention even more: Mina's earring. The thing was a quest item. The description read, "Enter the heroic difficulty Plague Town to trigger the World Class Change quest." I stared at those words, a little dumbfounded. I'd done my research. In this world, there were only 2 paths to a class change. One was the class change quest that automatically triggered at level 20, but that only broke through your level cap. The other was spending big money on a class change item, which let you awaken a new talent and change into a rare class. That was the method Qin Bing had told me about. But this world class change quest, I'd never heard of it. Could this be a third path? My curiosity was itching like crazy. I wanted to go take a crack at the heroic dungeon. But then it hit me. Heroic difficulty monsters had 10 times the health of normal, which meant that wizard would have at least 380,000 health. With my skeleton soldier's current damage, I couldn't one-shot him. Too risky. Looks like I still needed to go back into seclusion first, madly stacking attribute points while getting my hands on a powerful ranged skill to protect myself. I listed the warrior skill book and the plague sword on the trading market. To my surprise, the second I posted them, someone added me as a friend and messaged me privately. Turned out they were at the Yunyang Dungeon Hall too. Half an hour later, there was a knock at the door. The visitor was a young guy with a cold, stony face, wearing a set of battered armor with a black iron greatsword strapped to his back, radiating killing intent. He looked me up and down and asked if I was Chen Yong, saying he had a necromancer skill book and wanted to trade it for something of mine. He flicked a finger, and a blue-covered skill book flew into my hands. Skeleton Mage Summoning, which could summon a skeleton mage with a 150-point spirit bonus. I was stunned. This was a blue-quality skill book, worth several times more than my green Berserk book. Feeling a bit awkward, I told him I didn't have any money to make up the price difference. The guy waved his hand and said he knew. He just wanted to trade this blue book for my plague sword and that Berserk book. Hearing that, I agreed without another word and summoned both items right out. The guy took the Berserk book, and the moment he looked at it, he couldn't hold back the grin on his face. He grabbed the book, hoisted his greatsword, and shot out of there like his feet were greased, looking for all the world like he was terrified I'd change my mind the next second. Watching his disappearing figure, I ran my hand over the blue skill book in my hands and slowly smiled. I sat in the restroom of the dungeon hall, not the slightest bit interested in all the chatter going on outside. Right now my mind was on one thing and one thing only: stacking attribute points. Eyes fixed on the panel, I dumped point after point into the spirit stat. 2+ hours later, my spirit stat finally broke past 120,000. What did that mean? It meant I could summon 25 skeleton soldiers at once, each dealing 120,000 damage per swing. Not to mention my newly acquired blue skill book, Skeleton Mage Summoning, which let me summon 25 skeleton mages in one go, each fireball dealing 180,000 magic damage. 25 melee, 25 ranged. With a lineup like this, forget the level 15 heroic dungeon. I'd dare take a crack at even a level 20 heroic difficulty. With that thought, I got up and headed straight for the heroic difficulty plague town. I'd barely reached the dungeon entrance when I ran into someone I knew. It was that cold-faced young guy who'd just traded skill books with me, and right now he was surrounded by people from 3 different legions. Young Master Cheen, join our Bright Moon Legion. We'll make you a squad captain right away. Captain's nothing. Our leader said young Master Cheen can be a vice leader if he wants. What good is an empty title? Come to our Sky Wolf Legion, Brother Cheen. A level 20 purple class change card. We'll give it to you for free. Man, each offer was more outrageous than the last. The people around them heard it and turned green with envy. But that young guy's expression didn't so much as flicker. He shoved his class card into the staff member's hand. Level 15 normal. Slaughter Wasteland. The staff member's face went pale. In a low voice, he asked if the guy was still going in alone. The guy furrowed his brow and shot back, not allowed. And the staff member instantly didn't dare say another word. The people from the 3 big legions were still trying to talk him out of it, saying soloing a level 15 dungeon was too dangerous, offering to send a few people to go with him. The guy let out a cold laugh and said, "More like I'd be the one carrying you," then stepped into the dungeon without a backward glance. Watching from the side, I was a little surprised. This kid actually had some real skill. Sure, soloing a level 15 dungeon looked easy for him, but for an ordinary classer that was basically suicide, without a gold talent, don't even think about it. Before I could finish mulling it over, the Plague Town staff member recognized me at a glance. "You're Chin Young?" That one shout made the entire hall snap around to look at me. He's the beast who solo cleared normal Plague Town. So young. Must be one of this year's new students, right? But Yunyang City didn't have any gold talents come out this year. The moment the 3 big legions saw this, they immediately swarmed over. A plump middle-aged man was the first to speak. "Friend, would you be interested in joining our Bright Moon?" "Nope, not interested. Thanks." I cut him off flat in one sentence. "You've got to be kidding me. My 50 skeleton babies were more than enough to steamroll these third-rate legions. Why would I join one? To be their good luck mascot. Bottom line, give me enough time and I could flatten every legion and every dungeon single-handedly. Any resource they could get, I could get. And the ones they couldn't get, I could get too." I'd refused so bluntly that all the legions lost face. Especially the Bright Moon Legion's leader, Lu Ming. His mature, weathered face instantly darkened. "If you don't join the Bright Moon Legion," he said coldly, "you won't even be able to do your class change quest." I arched an eyebrow, and my gaze turned cold too. "Oh, so we're going with schoolyard bullying now." A pretty young woman beside him quickly stepped in to smooth things over, explaining that what their leader meant was that the class change quest required entering a level 20 dungeon, and level 20 dungeons could only be entered with a legion party. So that was it. My expression eased up a bit. But in Lu Ming's eyes, this meant I'd been scared into submission. He figured I'd definitely come crawling back to kiss up to him. After all, in all of Yunyang City, only a handful of legions like his could clear a level 20 team dungeon. "As long as you join the Bright Moon Legion, I guarantee I'll carry you through the class change quest," Lu Ming offered again, his tone that of a man who was sure he had me in the bag. I smiled and turned to the pretty young woman. "What's your name, beautiful?" "Sun Yuerong." She flashed me a sweet smile. "Little brother, if you come to the Bright Moon Legion, Big Sis will set you up with a girlfriend." "Really?" I looked her up and down with obvious interest. "As pretty as you." "Oh, stop, of course. That's enough." Lu Ming's jealousy flared up instantly. "Kid, you tired of living?" A burly man beside them quickly stepped in to break it up, saying his name was Ji Buoxiao, vice leader of the Sky Wolf Legion, and suggesting we get back to business. I clapped him on the shoulder and said with a smile, "Thanks, man. But as for joining a legion," I shot Sun Yuerong another glance. "I'll have to wait for the right moment." Ji Buoxiao looked baffled, and nobody else got it either, except Sun Yuerong, whose pretty face flushed slightly. I chuckled and turned to hand my class card to the staff member. "Heroic Plague Town." The staff member froze for a second, But this time he didn't waste any words. He processed my entry quickly. Taking my return talisman, I stepped through the black portal, leaving the 3 big legions standing there awkwardly behind me. I faintly heard Lu Ming scoff behind me. So he solo cleared a normal dungeon. Big deal. Only Sun Yuerong understood clearly. That young Master Qin was indeed formidable, but he could only clear Slaughter Wasteland. Why? Because the monsters in that dungeon were few and scattered, and even the boss was a single target. Plague Town was a whole different story. Aside from the small monsters at the entrance, everything else was clustered together, especially that plaza at the end where a full 300 monsters gathered in one spot. Even a 5-person party struggled with it, and I'd solo cleared it in 17 minutes. Unfortunately, before she could even snap out of it, she heard the staff member say, "This time he's going in on heroic difficulty." Sun Yuerong's eyes went wide. Heroic dungeon. Monster health was 10 times that of normal, and Plague Town was already the hardest of all the dungeons. In thousands of years, no one had ever cleared it. Once again standing inside Plague Town, that familiar ring of blessing light glowed beneath my feet. Only this time, it felt completely different. It was too real. I could even make out the maggots squirming on the rotting corpses, could smell the choking stench of decay in the air. The number and strength of the monsters had all changed drastically. What had been 10 starving, rotting corpses was now 20. Their level jumped from 12 to 18, and their health had shot up from 4,300 straight to 43,000. Man, what kind of loadout would you even need to play this? I couldn't help but mutter, raising my hand to start summoning. Clatter, clatter, 25 skeleton soldiers crawled out of the ground, cracks one after another. I didn't send them forward. Instead, I had them form a ring, guarding me in the center. I only had 1 life, and I was squishy, better safe than sorry. Then I summoned 25 skeleton mages. I glanced at their stats. 1 fireball dealt 180,000 damage, and it came with a passive. Killing a target made the next skill cast instant. As expected of a blue skill book. Sweet. I raised my hand and pointed. Kill. A second later, a sky-darkening barrage of fireballs came crashing down. Those 20 rotting corpses got flattened before they could even make a move. Ding. Killed level 18, starving rotting corpse. Gained 860 experience. The difficulty went up tenfold, and so did the experience. In less than 5 seconds, over 17,000 experience was in the bag, even faster than running normal. But I still hadn't reached level 14, because going from level 13 to 14 required over 80,000 experience. Only now did I truly grasp just how hard leveling up was for an ordinary classer. But I didn't have time to dwell on it. The heroic dungeon's monsters were terrifyingly alert, just like real people. The moment my small monsters fell, a hoarse roar came from the town on the other side. Damned invaders. Kill them all. Then the earth began to tremble, as if 10,000 armies were charging in. Time to punch the clock, boys. I waved my hand grandly, and the skeleton army pressed forward in a mighty tide. Experience surged the whole way, the green light above my head never once stopping. Before long, I'd fought my way to that small river bridge. This time the monster count had doubled, from 60 or 70 to over 100. And they'd gotten smarter, no longer dumbly cramming across the bridge. A whole batch of zombies also burst up out of the water, 2 or 3 meter-long zombie fish and zombie turtles. And beside that mini-boss, the gluttonous butcher, were several howling zombie dogs. I couldn't be bothered with the hassle. Fireballs plus the sword formation, and I just steamrolled straight through. By the time I'd chopped the gluttonous butcher into a dozen pieces too, I'd reached level 15. Only this time I noticed something strange. The charred corpses didn't dissolve into black mist and vanish. They lay solidly on the ground, giving off the smell of burnt flesh. Could it be that the stuff inside a heroic dungeon is actually real? Just as I was puzzling over it, a new panel flashed up before my eyes. World Class Change Quest Triggered. Undead Calamity. The quest description was written in a child's voice. The undead calamity has descended. My country has been destroyed, my home reduced to ruins. Papa went off to the battlefield to fight the undead army. I'm so worried about him. Quest objective: find Mina and return the earring her father left her. At the very bottom were 2 more lines. World Class Change Quest. One time only. Cannot be abandoned. Cannot be repeated. My heart did a little flip. This quest was no joke. It definitely couldn't be finished within this one dungeon. And those words, cannot be abandoned, cannot be repeated, meant that once I accepted it, if I failed to finish it, I'd never be able to take on any other class change quest again. For any other classer, they probably wouldn't even dare accept it. But I was different. I had 1,000,000,000 attribute points. If I couldn't finish it today, I'd come back tomorrow. I refused to believe that a level 20 class change quest could be so absurd that even my 1,000,000,000-point damage couldn't chew through it. Without hesitation, I tapped yes. The moment I accepted the quest, I noticed a new skill book in my backpack, probably dropped by the gluttonous butcher earlier, though I'd been leveling too fast to check. Bone Spike Prison. Green summon bone spikes from beneath your feet to attack and imprison enemies within a certain radius, continuously dealing spirit damage. The moment I saw this skill, I nearly jumped up. This was a crowd control and survival godsend. The range and imprison duration both scaled with spirit. The coefficient wasn't high, but it didn't matter. My spirit was through the roof. Based on my current spirit, the range was a full 600+ meters. The imprison lasted over 100 seconds, and it dealt 6,000 damage per second. In other words, a monster 600 meters away from me would get pinned in place, forced to just stand there and take a beating. I learned the skill without a second thought and charged straight for the town center with my skeleton army. The moment I reached the plaza entrance, I sensed something was off. The zombies here weren't kneeling in prayer like in the normal dungeon. Instead, every one of them was glaring at the entrance with green eyes, locked on. The second I showed my face, several in the front row came lunging with howls. Bone Spike Prison. I stomped my foot on the ground. Crash. Bone spikes erupted from the earth, spreading wildly outward with me at the center, skewering every one of the several hundred zombies within 600 meters in place, unable to move. Then, 25 skeleton soldiers charged in with blades drawn, while 25 skeleton mages built up massive fireballs in the back. In just a few dozen seconds, the several hundred monsters in the plaza all turned into experience points scrolling above my head. I shot straight up to level 18. Only 2 people were left on the field. The little girl Mina, tied to the raised platform, and a wizard holding a staff high overhead, in the middle of casting a spell. I glanced at that wizard, and when his stats came up, even I was a little taken aback. Wizard Amodai, level 25, 380,000 health. A full several dozen times a normal monster. Thankfully his attack wasn't too monstrous, but that health pool was definitely not something an ordinary squad could handle. By now, his aggro had locked onto me, and the Shadow Bolt cast bar under his health bar had already charged halfway. 2 more seconds, and I'd take one to the face. Bone Spike Prison. I stomped again. The bone spikes erupted with a boom, hoisting Amity's entire body into the air, instantly interrupting the Shadow Bolt in his hands and imprisoning him for 122 seconds. Then, a barrage of fireballs came crashing down. Minus 5,600, minus 169,000, minus 168,000. Only 5 damage numbers had popped up before this 380,000 health wizard was burned into a charred stick. The excess fireballs slammed into the platform, sending chunks of stone flying, scaring Mina beside it into a wailing fit. But not a single hair on her was harmed. Not because she was a neutral NPC, but because she was already nothing more than a wisp of a departed soul. The Mina in the normal dungeon had been an expressionless paper cutout tied to a cross. But this Mina before me was so real. The blood on her body, the tears in her eyes, that gaping bloody hole in her chest. All of it crystal clear. Panels popped up one after another before my eyes. Killed level 25 Wizard Amodai. Gained 55,210 experience. You have cleared Plague Town, heroic. Clear time, 10 minutes, 13 seconds. Rating SSS. Congratulations, first clear of Plague Town, heroic. Achievement reward, 300,000 experience. Achievement treasure chest. That 300,000 experience hit me, and with 2 dings I leveled up twice in a row, jumping straight to level 20. Then, another purple light flashed before me. I opened my backpack, Amity's robe, purple rare quality. The moment I saw the gear's stats, my eyes lit up. This robe could generate a mana shield that absorbed damage equal to 10% of my mana pool. If any other classer got it, it'd be barely usable. A level 20 person only had a few thousand mana, so it'd block maybe a few hundred points. But right now I had over 12 million mana, so this shield could tank over 1.2 million damage for me. And I was still frantically stacking points. Once my spirit hit hundreds of thousands, or even millions, I couldn't even imagine how much this shield would be able to absorb. Good stuff. From now on I could dump everything into spirit without a worry. I was going to become the man with the most monstrous spirit power in this entire world. I had my skeleton soldiers chop Amity's corpse into several pieces, but the town return talisman didn't light up. What lit up was little Mina beside me. A green exclamation mark hovered over her head as she stared at me timidly. I understood. This was a quest prompt. I pulled Mina's earring out of my backpack and handed it to her. A panel promptly popped up. Quest complete. Mina's affection raised to intimate. Follow-up quest. Enter Mina's memories. Find and kill the Archmage Amodai. Final quest reward. World class change card. At the very bottom was one more line of warning. Accepting this quest will enter you into true world mode and unlock the New World dungeon, the Fallen Eternal Kingdom. Now I understood. So the 3 difficulties, normal, hard, and heroic, were all fake, just something the system provided for people to practice on. This true world was the real deal, and that Eternal Kingdom had long since been overrun by the undead army. What I had to do was accept the quest, open this dungeon, follow Mina's memories to find Amodai, and slaughter that bastard one more time. Without hesitation, I tapped yes. Whoosh! A beam of light descended from the sky, spreading out rapidly with me at its center. Everywhere the light touched, life returned. Charred corpses vanished. Ruined houses were instantly restored to new. Figures moved about the town square, and children ran around playing. Even Mina, standing beside me, transformed back into a pure young girl in a white dress. She happily hopped off the high platform and ran off to play with her friends. The entire dead town had suddenly come back to life. At that very moment, over in the Yunyang City Instance Hall, a single announcement set the whole city ablaze. Congratulations! First clear of Plague Town on Hero difficulty. Cleared by Chun Yong, level 20 Undead Summoner. Record time, 10 minutes and 13 seconds. This was the first clear record for a hero instance, and those 2 words, first clear, meant that no matter who posted a faster time in the future, this name would forever be carved on the historical monument. 10 minutes, 13 seconds. Cleared a hero instance solo? How is that even possible? The 3 great legions who were still recruiting were all stunned dumb by this record. Lu Ming's face was full of shock as he forced out the words one by one. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Zhao Taiju was just as certain. The trash mobs in there have over 40,000 HP each. Unless you're a level 20 plus veteran, there's no way. And the crazy part is this kid suddenly shot up to level 20. That's way too fake. Ji Boxiao kept shaking his head too. Only Sun Yuerong reminded them with a bitter look on her face. But the system doesn't make mistakes. That was true. A system that could grant humans superpowers and control countless worlds. If even it could make mistakes, then humanity's extinction wouldn't be far off. Meanwhile, in the principal's office at Yunyang Academy, Qin Bing stared at her computer screen, unable to speak for a long while. Her own school had produced such a monstrously talented figure. As principal, she should have been thrilled, but she couldn't feel any joy at all. According to national regulations, students with orange grade talent or higher had to be reported and sent to a military academy for advanced training. And Chun Yong had white F grade talent. She had personally stamped him unqualified and washed him out. Was there a problem with the crystal? Impossible. Qin Bing muttered, her face flushed. Could it be because that bastard changed his class? Before she could finish her thought, the phone on her desk rang. Seeing the caller ID, she rubbed her temples and reluctantly answered. Dad, don't call me Dad. I don't have a daughter like you. The voice on the other end tore into her without pause. You let a monster like this slip right through your fingers. I think you should just give up being principal. Qin Bing was about to explain when another announcement came through the computer. Class holder Qin Yong has accepted a world class change quest, unlocking the level 20 New World secret realm, the Fallen Eternal Kingdom. The entrance to the secret realm is located in the suburbs of Yunyang City. Qin Bing froze completely. A world-class change quest? Unlocking a new world secret realm? The word monster no longer even applied. This was a pioneer. A world-class change was a unique quest, rarer than a legendary class. It was a mythic tier class. In the entire world, over thousands of years, fewer than 10 people had ever completed one. Even in the Great Qin, only that ancestor who had lived over 2,000 years had managed it. Qin Bing, find Qinyong for me immediately. The voice on the phone was gritting through clenched teeth. No matter the cost, even if you have to get down on your knees, you keep that man here. If another family snatches him away, you'd better change your surname. I understand. Qin Bing hung up and scrambled out of her office. At that moment, all the major Legion forces were mobilizing too, gathering en masse toward Yunyang City. And me? I was standing on the wall of Plague Town. Behind me was the bustling town square. Before me lay peaceful fields. A group of children played in the water by a clear river, and Mina, in her white dress, glowed all over like a little fairy. In that serene moment, the sky suddenly went dark. The vibrant, life-filled land fell into instant, deathly silence. Everyone looked up to see a massive rift tear open in the sky, and one strangely shaped castle after another came flying out of the crack. Boom! A gigantic castle crashed down onto the wilderness outside the town. An army of the undead poured out of it, the aura of death spreading like a thick fog. Everywhere it reached, farmland went barren, plants withered and died, and the entire world was plunged into despair in an instant. People fled in terror. Little Mina, in the chaos, hid beneath the high platform in the square. Outside, screams and cries for help rose and fell endlessly. All she could do was clamp her hands over her mouth, too afraid to make a single sound. After who knows how long, it finally went quiet outside. Thinking she'd survived the disaster, Mina staggered out, and just then, a withered hand landed on her thin little shoulder. Trembling, she raised her head and saw a gray-white, evil face. The next second, that hand seized her by the throat and lifted her whole body off the ground. Terrified, she looked around and saw that the square was full of kneeling townsfolk. All of them turned into zombies. "Boo-hoo, Daddy, save me." Mina's despairing cries pierced through the entire town, but the only response was deathly silence. "Hey, lowly little human ant, become this wizard's pet." A moth grinned viciously, and that skeletal hand plunged straight toward Mina's chest. Squelch! Her chest was pierced through, and her tiny heart was ripped right out of her body. Damn it! I couldn't hold back any longer. With a furious roar, my killing intent shattered the illusion before my eyes into pieces. At the same time, a blood-stained earring fell into my palm. Quest item obtained. Mina's earring. Follow-up quest. Tears of the Silver Knight Commander. Travel to the fallen Eternal Kingdom. Find Mina's father, the strongest knight of the Eternal Kingdom. Return the earring to him, and tell him everything that happened at Plague Town. Quest reward. Level 20 Ancient Red Staff. Understood. I didn't hesitate for a moment. Not only would I kill a moth, I would rip this dog's heart out too, and grind it to pieces under my heel. The entrance to the Yunyang City Instance Hall was already packed solid. Every class holder was crowded in front of the exit, all wanting to see just who could clear a hero instance with such a monstrous record and unlock a world's secret realm. Just then, the black gate for the neighboring Slaughter Wasteland lit up first. A cold, young man carrying a massive plague greatsword walked out. The big screen refreshed accordingly. Slaughter Wasteland normal difficulty record has been broken. Broken by Qin Sanjin, level 20 warrior. Record time, 59 minutes and 14 seconds. F*CKya. I finally punched through. Qin Sanjin was beside himself with excitement. He was from a branch line of the Qin family. Unfortunately, the Qin family had too many geniuses, and even though he carried gold-grade legendary talent, he had never been valued by the family. Swallowing his frustration, he'd come to solo instances to prove himself, but after grinding for several months, he hadn't even been able to take down the first boss. Today he'd gotten lucky and run into someone selling the Warrior's Rage skill book, a thing that only dropped in Plague Town, extremely rare, and his gold talent happened to enhance Rage. After learning it, he returned to the Slaughter Wasteland, cleared it in one go, and even broke the record. If he wasn't mistaken, He was the very first person in history to solo a level 15 instance. Qin Sanjin lifted his head with a sinister smile. As expected of me, the king of solo. He fully expected to be swarmed with adoration, but after waiting a good while, not a single person came over to congratulate him. Even Ji Buxiao and Zhao Taizhu, who usually pestered him every single day, wouldn't so much as glance his way now. Just as he was puzzling over this, someone in the crowd suddenly cried out, "It's lit up! The Plague Town exit is lighting up." Qin Sanjin turned to look and saw a young man walk out of that black gate, wearing a mage's robe paired with slippers. Him. Qin Sanjin was stunned. Wasn't that the kid who'd sold him the rage skill? Named Qinyong, was it? Could this whole mob of people be waiting for this kid? That couldn't be right. Clearly he, the older brother, was the real solo master. But before he could figure it out, all the reporters and gawkers rushed forward in a swarm. "Mr. Chun, how do you feel about being the first to clear hero difficulty Plague Town? Mr. Chun, you're the one who unlocked the Eternal Kingdom's secret realm. Which legion do you plan to join to conquer it? Foster father, your child has finally found you. Brother Yong is so handsome. Can I be your girlfriend?" The crowd sealed off the exit completely. The security guards trying to squeeze in to keep order nearly got trampled to death. Sun Yuerong, Ji Buxiao, and the others were all crushed flat against the wall, watching me with complicated looks in their eyes. Especially that voice-cracking foster father. That one really broke them. An hour ago, in their eyes, I'd been an unremarkable newbie. In the blink of an eye, I'd hit level 20, gotten the first clear on a hero instance, and received a world-class change quest. Now, forget recruiting me. They didn't even dare aim so high. Qin Sanjin stood off to the side, his brain completely crashed. A world-class change quest? Unlocking a new world secret realm? Soloing hero difficulty Plague Town? Legend had it that back in the day, the Qin family ancestor had thrown away dozens of lives just to take on this world-class change quest. And now you're telling me this kid pulled it off all by himself? The corner of his mouth couldn't help twitching, but when his eyes swept across that record line on the big screen, even his last bit of resentment was completely crushed down. Just then, there was a sudden commotion outside the door. Everyone turned to look and saw 3 men and 1 woman parting the crowd as they walked in, their presence so commanding that the whole hall fell dead silent. Even Qin Sanjin, plastered against the wall, was dumbfounded. Holy crap, the vice principals of all 3 military academies are here. I was startled by the spectacle myself. Before I could even react, Qin Bing, at the head of the group, sidled up to me with a fawning smile and made introductions. "Qinyong, these 3 are the vice principals of Shengjing, Yingtian, and Dongdu academies. They'd like to talk to you about enrollment." Enrollment? I was taken aback. Haven't I already graduated? What school would I even enroll in? Awkwardly, Qin Bing explained, by national standards, anyone with orange grade talent or higher had to enter a military academy for advanced training. It was just that at the time, I'd had F-grade talent, so she had washed me out. As she spoke, her face flushed red then went pale by turns. She was probably regretting it so much she wanted to slap herself twice. I knew perfectly well in my heart that I had zero interest in going to any university. Universities in this world were basically just teachers taking you to grind mobs, then doling out resources based on your performance. I already had a cheat. Give me enough time, and I'd eventually be invincible. Why would I need an academy to nurture me? On top of that, all 3 of these academies existed to funnel talent to the legions behind them. They couldn't really be called official at all. I was about to open my mouth to refuse, but the 3 vice principals started bickering first. Gao Zhishang of Shengjing Academy jumped in ahead of the others. "Qinyong, you've already been accepted into our Shengjing Academy. Old Gao, you think you can just declare him accepted? Am I, the vice principal of Yingtian Academy, just a decoration?" Another vice principal got worked up on the spot. Huang Longhua of Dongdu Academy smiled and looked at me. "Qinyong, I sincerely invite you to join Dongdu Academy. Tuition fully waived, plus a 20 million enrollment bonus." SSSSS. The whole hall drew a sharp breath. An enrollment bonus was normal, but this was absurd. An ordinary person couldn't earn that much in a lifetime. But Gao Zhishang just sneered. 20 million, and you have the nerve to say it out loud? Our Shungjing Academy will throw in a full set of level 20 red gear on top. The crowd gasped again. You have to understand, the stats on level 20 red gear were equivalent to level 40 orange gear or level 60 purple gear. A newbie with a set like that would be shooting up like a rocket. Vulgar. Shameless. The Yingtian vice principal's old face went red with rage. We're here to recruit students, not to strike a deal. After his tirade, he turned to me warmly. Little Chun, if you come to Yingtian Academy, I'll add a red grade skill book on top of all that. Watching these three big shots practically come to blows fighting over me, Qin Bing stood to the side with a wry smile, and I was getting a bit of a headache too. In the midst of all this uproar, a cold, clear woman's voice suddenly came from outside the door. Three shameless little things. You think you can sneak off and steal my man while I'm away? That voice was cold and sharp like a knife, and every gaze in the hall snapped toward its source. The dense crowd parted like a tide sweeping to both sides, and in walked a stunningly gorgeous woman in a blood-red cheongsam. Who is this woman? How dare she be so rude to the three vice principals? Someone in the crowd, lacking any sense, muttered under his breath. His companion beside him went white in the face and clapped a hand over his mouth. Do you have a death wish? You dare insult even the Yuzhou Queen. The Yuzhou Queen? That man was instantly dumbstruck, his voice trembling. You mean, that person from Yuzhou Academy? The two of them shrank back into the crowd in fright, and everyone present who recognized this beautiful woman didn't dare even breathe loudly. The three vice principals, who had been at each other's throats moments ago, were now competing to see who could be more docile. Lu Qijuan of Yingtian was the first to sidle up with an ingratiating smile. Senior sister, what brings you here? You should have given us a heads up. We'd have arranged for someone to pick you up. The other two nodded along eagerly, not a trace left of the arrogant swagger they'd shown fighting over me. Every bit the three fawning lapdogs now. The beautiful woman gave a soft snort and walked straight up to me, affectionately hooking her arm through mine. The little one's pretty good looking, she said with a smile. Come be Auntie's son-in-law. Me? The onlookers. The three vice principals. Qin Bing's face flushed crimson in an instant, and she stamped her foot in a panic. Mom, what are you saying? So this woman was Qin Bing's mother, the famous Yuzhou Queen, Yu Hongyi. Don't get it. Yu Hongyi said, her lovely face turning cold. I found a good husband for your daughter. I gave a dry cough and quietly tried to slip my arm out. Auntie, that's a pretty cold joke. Principal Qin is my teacher. Sure, I'd only known Qin Bing for a few hours, but in this world, we were teacher and student on the surface. That kind of thing couldn't be joked about carelessly in public. The three vice principals quickly chimed in too. Senior sister, you can't stoop to a dirty trick like this just to poach a student. A flash of red light flickered in Yu Hongyi's beautiful eyes. In an instant, the entire instance hall was enveloped in a layer of blood-colored mist. Three stunning women in red paper wedding gowns appeared out of thin air behind the three vice principals. Their jade-white little hands, tipped with half-foot-long blood-red nails, rested gently on the men's throats. The three big shots didn't dare breathe loudly on the spot. A stat window suddenly popped up before my eyes too, red paper bride. A whole row of question marks for level. HP, strength, spirit, all question marks. The skill slots read, soul devour, heart rip, yang sever, life claim. My heart lurched. Good grief, all question marks. This was a being I couldn't see through at all. Without a word, I quickly and obediently tucked the arm I just pulled out right back into place. Yu Hongyi watched me with a look that was half a smile. Good son-in-law. Annie will treat you to a meal. What would you like to eat? I swallowed hard. What we eat doesn't matter. What matters is getting to keep Annie company and chat. Such a sweet little mouth. Yu Hongyi pursed her lips in a smile, then turned to the three vice principals. You three come along too, so no one can say I bullied you. The three vice principals still wanted to explain, but before the words left their mouths, they were lifted up by the throats by the red paper brides and hauled out of the hall along with Yu Hongyi, me, and Qin Bing. The moment we left, everyone remaining in the hall collapsed to the floor with a series of thuds. My God, that's way too strong. As expected of a legendary class, the Great Qin's one and only demonic sorceress. The meal was set at a hotel, a whole table piled with delicacies. The three vice principals were in a miserable spot, held by the throat by the red paper brides, unable to eat a single bite. As for me, I was pinned to my chair by Yuhangi, who kept feeding me dishes non-stop, nearly stuffing me to death. Truly, some were dying of fullness while others were dying of hunger. Xiaoyong, Yuhangi asked softly and sweetly, what do you think of Qin Bing? Isn't she pretty? With a boss made entirely of question marks sitting right up against me. Did I dare say she wasn't pretty? She's pretty. I nodded, coughing dryly. Qin Bing lowered her head in embarrassment, her two hands clamped between her legs, rubbing together nonstop. She'd never been in a relationship to begin with, and being set up on a matchmaking date like this in public, with such thin skin, and with the target being her own student, no less, was mortifying. Then it settled. Yu Hongi nodded with satisfaction. You two hurry up and get married. Once the baby's born, Annie will help raise it for you. I was dumbstruck on the spot, and Qin Bing was so embarrassed she buried her face right under the table. The three vice principals hurried to object, saying Chen Yong had just graduated and it was far too early to marry. They understood full well in their hearts. If I really agreed to marry Qin Bing, it would mean I was firmly committing to the Qin family, and their whole trip would be a total bust. Humph. Yu Hongyi gave a soft snort, and the three vice principals were immediately pressed down under the table by the red paper brides. She tightened her grip on my arm again and said gently, Xiaoyong, surely you don't think it's too early? I got a splitting headache, and the three vice principals on the floor were wailing internally. Even they hadn't been able to withstand this kind of offensive back in their day, let alone a hot-blooded young man. But to everyone's surprise, I coughed a few times and said, Auntie, I have no objection to you helping me and Qin Bing raise a child. But asking me to enroll in an academy? No way. What did you say? Yu Hongyi's phoenix eyes narrowed slightly. The three on the floor scrambled up in shock too. This kid actually wanted to take advantage of Yu Hongyi for nothing. Wasn't that like the old birthday star hanging himself, tired of living too long? Qin Bing broke a sweat on my behalf too. She knew all too well how terrifying her mother was when her temper flared. I said, unhurried. There's no need for me to enter an academy. Not a single person in there could teach me anything. Oh, Yu Hongyi's eyes lit up. Let's hear your reasoning. I sighed. Auntie, let me tell you a joke. It's been less than 5 hours since I changed my class. The corners of everyone's mouths twitched in unison. Only then did they realize I was no ordinary monster. Soloing a hero instance in 10 minutes, leveling to 20 in 5 hours. Such a thing was unheard of in all of history. Yu Hongyi's eyes grew even brighter. She even licked her red lips, with a look like she wanted to swallow me whole right there. I asked her again, Auntie Yu, the highest level dark magic teacher at Yuzhou Academy. What level are they? Level 100. She was caught off guard, answering offhandedly. To her, that level wasn't high, but for students it was already the ceiling. Anything beyond that, the academy couldn't teach. You had to rely entirely on yourself. Level 100. I gave a soft laugh, my tone brimming with confidence. As I recall, the academy doesn't start for another 2 months. Within those 2 months, I can reach level 100. The moment I said it, the whole table was stunned. Qin Bing's eyes went wide, and the three vice principals shot to their feet. Yu Hongyi stared at me with narrowed eyes. Xiaoyong, you're not pulling Auntie's leg, are you? Of course not. I nodded. If I can't do it, then I'll go to Yuzhou Academy, marry Qin Bing, and marry into your Qin family. Qin Bing's face flushed red again. The three vice principals wore looks of helplessness. My answer was, in effect, an indirect agreement to join the Qin family. Yu Hongyi was amused into laughter by me. You really are a master freeloader. You come out ahead either way. I grinned. Mainly, I just want Auntie Yu to help raise the kid. Yu Hongyi let out a snort of laughter. What a filthy-minded rascal. Yet she didn't mind in the slightest. Having lived several hundred years, what kind of person hadn't she seen? She stared at me and said slowly, If you really can pull it off, Annie will give you a big gift and apply for you to get Major Colonel grade treatment. The three vice principals were flat out stunned. That was a height countless monster geniuses couldn't reach in a whole lifetime. I readily nodded. Truthfully, I had no intention whatsoever of actually marrying Qin Bing and joining the Qin family. We'd known each other for only a few hours, so what if she was beautiful? Women only slowed down the speed of my blade draw. As a proper earthling, how could I not understand that principle? Once I hit a few thousand levels and made my name, what kind of woman couldn't I find? By then I could have both Qin Bing and Yu Hongyi kneeling before me calling me daddy. Right now I was just a newbie who needed a tiger's skin to wear as protection. The Qin family represented officialdom. This choice wasn't hard to make. But Annie has to warn you, Yu Hongyi said with a look that said she had me pegged. For these 2 months, the Qin family won't give you any help, including with that world-class change quest. Mom, Qin Bing got anxious. Even an ordinary class change needed a legion to guide you, and a world-class change was a near-certain death sentence. But Yu Hongyi narrowed her phoenix eyes, and the 3 red paper brides immediately pulled out kitchen cleavers and held them to the 3 vice principals' throats, forcing back every word of objection. Fine, then I'll take my leave first. I stood up decisively, cupped my hands to everyone, and turned to go. Auntie, go home and prepare that big gift. Don't disappoint me. Quite confident, aren't you? Yu Hongyi smiled seductively. Don't worry, Auntie absolutely won't disappoint you. Back home, more precisely, the bare little shack that was my home in this world. There were still traces of someone having lived there. I had crossed over in my own physical body. Even the underwear on me was brought from back home. So where had this world's original Qin Yong gone? Could it be that this world's Qin Yong swapped places with me? I mused, stroking my chin, while my hands never stopped dumping points into spirit. I remembered I still hadn't opened those 2 treasure chests from the hero instance. I opened my backpack, and 2 big purple chests dropped out of thin air. The instance treasure chest contained a pile of large potion bottles, plus a blue flame burst skill book and a purple witchcraft magic staff. And that achievement chest yielded a purple martyr's armor, along with 1 other item, Bone of the Dead, gold grade, legendary quality. I stared at that thing's description for a long while and nearly stopped breathing. A piece the size of an index finger, not bone, but somehow bone-like. And that was it. No stats, no usage description. I shook my head and looked at the equipment first. That staff had top-tier stats. It could add 550 points of damage to spell-type skills. With it, an ordinary mage could even crit for over 1,000. That armor was a defensive god-tier piece too. When struck, there was a chance to have physical damage. Unfortunately, this staff, armor, and fireball skill book were all garbage to me as an undead summoner. They'd just be dead weight in my hands. I gave a big wave of my hand and listed them all on the trading market. Good grief. I ran a hero instance and ended up with just 1 piece of clothing. Still, these level 15 purple pieces plus the skill book could sell for over 100,000, so at least my food money was covered. Goods like this get snatched up the instant you list them. The delivery guy showed up at my door in about 10 minutes. His look was pretty trendy too. Overall pants with a center part haircut. His arms full with the goods. He even knocked on my door using a shoulder body slam. After seeing off the delivery guy, I kept browsing the market for undead summoner skill books, only to be nearly driven to bitter laughter before level 20. This class had the same 3 skills over and over. Fine, nothing to learn, so I just keep adding points. I buried myself in it for the whole night. The next day, yawning, I looked at my stat panel with deep satisfaction. My spirit had already piled up to over 495,000. I could summon 100 skeleton warriors and 100 skeleton mages, with single target damage of 490,000 and 740,000 respectively. My mana was even pushing 5 million, and combined with the 10% shield from a mode's robe, I could tank over 4,900,000 damage. My magic defense was absurdly high. I was practically the father of every mage in the world. Add in the crowd control from Bone Spike, and I figured I could just about manage a run through that eternal kingdom. After all, I'd only changed classes 2 days ago. Being a little weak was normal. Even a genius needs some time to grow. After eating, I headed straight for the Eternal Kingdom's secret realm. There was a map on my class card, so no worries about not finding it. But when I saw the entrance to the secret realm, I was still startled. That black gate was a good 6 or 7 stories tall, its pitch-black light churning like a whirlpool. Standing beneath it, a person felt as tiny as an ant, with a constant sense you might get sucked in at any moment. Outside the black gate stretched a very long line. It looked like once the secret realm opened yesterday, Legions from all over had rushed here at the news, all wanting to grab the first bite of crab. So I had no choice but to obediently line up at the back. What puzzled me was why everyone was grouped in bunches of 20. Before I could figure it out, an argument broke out up front. A staff member was blocking a cold young man carrying a big greatsword. "Young Master Qin, you have to form a legion to enter a world's secret realm. Wasn't that the Qin Sanjin from yesterday?" Face flushed red, he shouted. "Nonsense. I snuck into one back in Yuzhou before. There's no such rule." The staff member patiently explained. Those Yuzhou secret realms were centuries old and had long since been mostly conquered, while the Eternal Kingdom was a new secret realm and required a legion party. Besides, what would one person even do going in alone? You couldn't solo it anyway. The others in line chimed in too, saying he should just join any legion. Every word grated on Qin Sanjin's ears. With his good talent, finding a legion wasn't hard, but he wasn't willing to waste away in some small legion. He wanted to be valued by the Qin family, wanted to shut up all those who'd mocked his mother. He'd finally cleared a level 15 instance yesterday and thought he could finally hold his head high. Only for me to mess it all up, and his months of effort went straight down the drain. "Just don't let me run into that guy again, or I'll—" He was gnashing his teeth, working himself into a rage. "Hey buddy, does the Eternal Kingdom really require a legion party?" I asked casually from the side. The staff member turned around and started trembling with excitement. Qin Yong the god. That one exclamation set off everyone around us. Holy crap, Yong the god is here too. He's the one who soloed the hero instance? I heard he even stirred up the Yuzhou queen. I don't see any Yuzhou legion people, though. Is he going to solo it again? The fangirls got even more worked up, practically ready to pounce on the spot. Qin Sanjin, though, was thoroughly depressed. How could this guy be such an inescapable ghost? Can't beat him, can't hide from him, and even got caught red-handed the moment he talked tough. The staff member explained to me with an apologetic smile. The secret realm's settings were self-determined, an iron law. You had to form a legion party to enter. No exceptions for anyone. Hearing that I couldn't get in either, Qin Sanjin felt an immense wave of satisfaction, better than clearing an instance himself. I stroked my chin, thinking it over. Joining a legion definitely wouldn't work. Those places were too annoying, a bunch of scrubs always trying to guilt-trip you into carrying them for free just because you're higher level with better gear. If you ignore them, they turn around and slander you. But if I didn't join a legion, what about my class change quest? While I was stuck on this dilemma, I caught sight of Qin Sanjin edging away from my feet toward the side. My eyes lit up, and I grabbed him and hoisted him right up. Qin Yong, what are you gonna do? Qin Sanjin was so scared his face went pale, babbling incoherently. I didn't insult you just now, and then I wasn't jealous that you stole my thunder either. Hitting people is against the law. What nonsense are you spouting? I frowned, snatched his class card straight from him, unlocked it with his face, ran through a few operations, tossed it back to him, and turned to walk toward the secret realm. What's this supposed to mean? Qin Sanjin was baffled. The staff member and the onlookers were all mystified too. The secret realm's iron law meant outsiders couldn't interfere at all, and it didn't matter if you were a big god. But no one expected that I'd walk up to the edge of that black gate, take a look, and simply step right in. Whoa, how did he get in? Does even the secret realm give Yong the god face? Everyone's jaws were still on the floor when an announcement suddenly rang out inside the secret realm. The Sanjin Legion has unlocked the world's secret realm, the fallen Eternal Kingdom. The following members, please enter immediately. Legion Commander Qin Sanjin, Member Qin Yong. The whole place erupted, everyone turning in unison to look at Qin Sanjin with faces full of envy. The fangirls could have torn him apart. That dog dared steal the chance to be their daddy. Qin Sanjin was stunned at first, then it clicked, and he took off sprinting toward the black gate. Qin, father, wait for your child. When I opened my eyes, before me lay a desolate wilderness. There was none of that stiff, fake feeling from an instance anymore. Everything around me was terrifyingly real. But this dim air was full of the stench of decay, without a shred of life. Plants and trees, mountains and rivers, all gave off a heavy aura of death, oppressive as if I'd arrived in the underworld. A system prompt popped up before me. You have entered the secret realm. eternal kingdom. The kingdom's ruler is fatuous. Evil men hold power, and they sacrificed millions of common folk, summoning an army of the undead. 90,000 li of land has fallen into ruin. Quest hint: travel to Nightfall Town and help the Silver Knights fend off the Calamity Army. Accept. I raised my hand and tapped it. After all, the Silver Knight commander was exactly who my class change quest needed me to find. Anything involving the Silver Knights, I definitely wasn't going to turn down. But I tapped several times, and the screen wouldn't respond at all. Just as I was puzzling over it, a timid voice came from beside me. Father, this Legion quest, should we accept it or not? The corner of my mouth twitched. I turned to look, and there was Qin Sanjin wearing an ingratiating smile all over his face. A completely different creature from the cold figure of yesterday. Yong the God, from now on you're my birth father. Whatever you say goes. Your child will never disobey. I got it now. In all of the great Qin, only the Qin family ancestor had done a world-class change. That I could trigger this quest meant my natural talent was on the same level as the ancestors. With a thigh this thick to hug, even an idiot would know what to do. Forget just calling me dad out loud. He'd genuinely be happy to accept me as his stepfather. All that grievance from before, he'd just chalk up to a father's loving hardship training. All right, accept it. I couldn't be bothered to nitpick. The panel changed accordingly. Quest: defend Nightfall Town. Fend off the undead army until the Silver Knight reinforcements arrive. Objective: kill 500 undead soldiers. Repeatable. Rewards: 30,000 EXP, 1,000 Silver Knight reputation, 1 level 20 random blue equipment. The moment Qin Sanjin accepted the quest, he got excited. Perfect. My class change quest is exactly to kill 500 Secret Realm monsters. I can finally complete it. I was a little surprised. You have a class change quest too? Yeah. His face turned bitter. I should have changed classes half a year ago, but because of some stuff I left my Legion, and it's been dragging on till now. For soloing a level 15 instance? The corner of my mouth twitched. How did you know? His eyes went wide. I just smiled and said nothing. From his whole journey of trying to prove himself by soloing instances, it was too easy to guess. Too bad the big shots weren't stupid. They all knew which instances were actually worth clearing. Running off to solo the level 15 normal slaughter wasteland like he did only proved his brain wasn't quite all there. What class are you planning to change to? Berserker. He grinned. Speaking of which, I have to thank you, Father. If you hadn't sold me that rage book, I couldn't have cleared the slaughter wasteland. My first talent is Rage Enhancement. It adds 50% damage reduction, 100% lifesteal, 100% crit rate, 200% attack speed, and 250% crit damage. Damn, that's insane, gold grade talent, right? I was genuinely shocked. Compared to his talent, my class talent was straight up garbage. You flatter me, Father. He scratched his head with a bashful smile. I was speechless for a moment. Was that a compliment? And that, Father? You say it way too smoothly. Do your own mom and dad know about this? Father, we've reached Nightfall Town. I looked up and saw a run-down little town in the distance, its residents busy building fortifications, clearly getting ready to fight the undead army. Hands behind my back, I sauntered along in front, dressed in a gold-patterned magic robe paired with floral shorts and flip-flops. Qin Sanjin followed behind in battered armor, hauling a rust-covered greatsword. With these two standing there, anyone whose eyes weren't blind could tell who was the boss. The moment the gate guard captain saw me, he quickly cupped his hands. Many thanks, Lord Commander, for coming to our aid. Please present your Legion emblem. I was still blanking out when Qin Sanjin blew up beside me. Are you blind? I'm the Legion Commander. The gate guard captain shot him a sidelong glance, his face full of disbelief. You're the commander? Then this mage lord is? He's my father. That shout nearly threw the gate guard captain's back out. And no wonder. I was a modern city man, young and handsome, while Qin Sanjin was dark and rough with several scars across his face, looking a good decade or more older than me. He pulled a gold badge from his pocket and handed it over. The gate guard captain took it with an apologetic smile and turned to go register it on the notice board. I seized the chance to ask, where'd this emblem come from? And what's it for? Qin Sanjin explained. When you used my class card to form the Legion, The system automatically generated it. It's our identity marker for entering and leaving the secret realm. Anything we do inside the realm gets fed back to the system through it. And if something major happens, it'll even broadcast an announcement to all class holders. Only then did I realize this system was truly formidable. By the looks of it, it governed a whole pile of worlds like the Great Qin and the Eternal Kingdom. Soon the registration was done, and the panel changed. Quest: Defend against the undead army. Please prepare. The army will arrive in 17 minutes and 53 seconds. A countdown even hung in the corner of my eye. Watching that number, Qin Sanjin got nervous and leaned in, lowering his voice. Father, it's not going to be just the two of us, is it? You scared? The corner of my mouth curled up. How could I be? He stiffened his neck and thumped his chest. A man mighty as an eagle like me, afraid of a few little monsters? It's a few hundred or a few thousand little monsters. I reminded him with a wicked grin. His expression changed, and he asked, trembling, Father, you've got a plan, right? Take a guess. Come on, Father, hurry and tell your child. He was still pestering me when a startled voice suddenly rang out beside us. Qin, young Master Qin, what are you doing here? The two of us turned around to see 7 or 8 class holders standing at the inn's entrance, led by a familiar face, Sun Yuerong of the Bright Moon Legion. The instant she saw Qin Sanjin clinging to my thigh, a gossipy gleam lit up in her eyes. Qin Sanjin quickly let go and coughed twice. Vice Commander Sun, you all took the Defend Nightfall Town quest too. Yeah. At the mention of it, Sun Yuerong's face filled with despair. We came yesterday, thinking we could cash in on a new secret realm. Who knew it'd be held difficulty? She filled us in on all the details. World realms are the real world. When a monster dies here, it doesn't respawn like it does in a dungeon instance. That's why whenever a new realm opens, every guild rushes in. Untouched ground is crawling with elite bosses, and killing just one of them can make you rich. But who could have guessed that the Eternal Kingdom was a level 20 realm that let anyone under level 30 in, yet the monster level cap here shot all the way up to 60, high-level monsters everywhere. In other realms, at least the local kingdom was still strong. But the Eternal Kingdom had already been wiped out, with only the Silver Knights barely hanging on. The monsters inside were terrifyingly powerful. Even the trash mobs hit harder than the bosses in a heroic dungeon. Qin Sanjin's face went pale. How many people did your guild bring? 20. Sun Yuerong gave a bitter smile. Half of them were veterans around level 25. We'd planned to bring the newbies in for their class change. Qin Sanjin sucked in a sharp breath and glanced back at the several exhausted-looking players behind her. Sun Yuerong asked anxiously, Young Master Qin, which guild did you join? How many did you bring? The people behind her all wore expectant looks, pinning their hopes on Qin Sanjin bringing reinforcements, enough to hold out until the Silver Knights came to save them. After all, this was a world realm. Unlike a heroic dungeon, you couldn't just use a town portal scroll to bail. The quest couldn't be abandoned, and the penalty for fleeing was brutal. Not only would you never be allowed into a realm again, but you'd also drag down the entire Great Qin nation's fortune. It was precisely because these places were so dangerous that even the small quests paid out so generously. Just the two of us. Qin Sanjin scratched his head. What? Sun Yuerong was stunned, while the others collapsed to the ground in despair. One healer girl burst into tears on the spot. Qin Sanjin shot me an awkward glance and hurried to reassure them. It's fine. With the God of Valor here, we're definitely holding this place. It's no use. Sun Yuerong shook her head hopelessly. Chen Yong might be able to solo a heroic dungeon, but there's no way he can hold back this wave of the undead army at Nightfall Town. I asked curiously, those undead monsters, how much HP do they have? 150,000. Sun Yuerong's eyes were hollow. And that's just the small ones. There are elites behind them, too. We fought the whole night, and we didn't even finish a fraction of the quest objective. 150,000 HP. Qin Sanjin was completely dumbfounded, too. With Berserk active, his hit maxed out at just over 1,000 per second. After factoring in the monster's defense and its HP regen, even if it stood there and did nothing, he'd have to hack at it for 5 minutes. It was only now he finally understood why the system limited guilds from entering. Coming in solo was just a straight-up death sentence. I asked Sun Yuerong again. So how did you hold the line? Are there only a few monsters? Now that I knew their HP, I started worrying about their numbers instead. Too few monsters meant too little XP, and my reputation with the Silver Knights would climb too slowly. I couldn't just charge straight into Silver City, after all. My only option was to grind lots of small mobs to build reputation, then get the garrison captain to put in a good word for me. There are plenty. Sun Yuerong laughed miserably and clutched her head. Enough to give you a phobia of crowds. If these monsters weren't afraid of daylight, both we and the garrison would have been wiped out long ago. Afraid of the sun? I instinctively looked out the window. The setting sun had already dipped more than halfway below the horizon, and the curtain of night was slowly pressing down. Gray mist rose gradually, and from far away, the faint sound of snarling could be heard. At that moment, the garrison captain pushed the door open and bowed deeply, his head nearly touching the ground. The undead army is about to attack the town again. I beg you, my lords, please lend us your strength. The civilians behind him bowed in unison, every face filled with devotion and pleading. But Sun Yuerong and her group just sat there frozen, not a spark of hope in their eyes. Qin Sanjin scratched his head in frustration, showing no sign of moving either. The enemy was simply too strong. As for me, I set down my cup of water and slowly rose to my feet. Come on, let's go meet this undead army and see just how tough they really are. With that, I clasped my hands behind my back and strolled leisurely out the inn's front door. This sigh. Qin Sanjin let out a heavy sigh, hoisted his great sword, and chased after me. Father, wait for me. Sister Sun, what do we do? The healer girl asked, wiping away her tears. What else can we do? Sun Yuerong gritted her teeth and snatched up her longbow. We can't let Great Qin's name be dragged through the mud. She followed resolutely, and the other players pulled themselves together too, shouldering their weapons and hurrying after us. The civilians remaining in the inn all rose in solemn respect, their eyes lighting up with admiration. That admiration turned into countless faint glimmers of light, flying toward the realm entrance and merging into Great Qin. Soon, we arrived outside the town gates. The tension in the air was thick enough to cut. Countless knights and archers stood ready in formation. Even many of the civilians had strapped wooden armor onto themselves, clutching kitchen knives and sickles. They were preparing for a last, desperate stand. The instant night fell completely. Roar! A roar exploded in the distance. The gray mist surged toward the town like a tsunami. Beneath that mist were over 1,000 monsters glowing with an eerie blue light. Skeletons clad in pitch-black armor, wielding bone spears and bone blades, howling up at the sky. Even more terrifying, standing in the middle of the skeletal army were several giants, over 30 feet tall, hauling entire trees on their shoulders. We're done for. Those are elite siege abomination giants. Sun Yuerong's legs went weak with fear. The other players deflated like popped balloons, the little courage they'd just mustered vanishing in an instant. Silver Knights, charge. The garrison captain let out a thunderous roar. Clatter. That ragged but orderly Silver Knights company charged out like arrows loosed from a bow. Right behind them, the militia followed with bloodshot eyes. They knew this battle likely meant death, but they had to hold back the undead army. Otherwise, their wives, children, and elderly mothers behind them wouldn't survive. Damn it! What are you all standing around for? Qin Sanjin bellowed. Are the soldiers of my great Qin worth less than these people from this ruined, eternal kingdom? Dragging his great sword, he sprinted out, wreathed in a bloody mist, berserk activated. Aye. Sun Yuerong was trembling all over, but she still drew her longbow taut. You lot, cover Guild Master Qin. Priest, keep an eye on everyone's HP. The Bright Moon Guild players scrambled to fall into support positions. But at the very moment when everyone, faces full of terror, was about to collide head-on with the undead army, from behind, a cold, detached voice rang out. Bone Prison. The instant those words fell, before anyone could even react, the impossible happened. Clatter. Countless bones burst up from beneath my feet, spreading out in all directions at an astonishing speed. In just a few seconds, the bone spikes had extended over a mile away, impaling every monster charging at the front and hoisting them all straight into the air. Right after, a string of white damage numbers floated up before Qin Sanjin's and Sun Yuerong's eyes. 24,500, 24,006, 24,007. Staring at that field of damage numbers over the monsters' heads, Qin Sanjin and Sun Yuerong froze on the spot. How much? Over 20,000 damage? Could a level 20 beginner tier player put out numbers like that? Forget beginners. Even an intermediate tier player couldn't do that. Not to mention that terrifying range of over a mile, complete with a rooting effect. But before they could even finish being stunned, I lightly stomped my foot again. Blood-red hexagram magic circles surfaced across the ground around us. 2 fissures, each dozens of feet long, split open in the earth before me, crackling and grinding as countless bones came crawling out of the cracks. Only then did they remember I was a necromancer. But this summoning of mine looked wrong no matter how you sliced it. Just how many things were about to crawl out from under those enormous fissures? Clatter, clatter. Under their scalp-tingling gazes, 100 skeleton warriors and 100 skeleton mages came pouring endlessly out of the cracks. The skeletons I summoned all glowed green, easy to tell apart at a glance from the blue-glowing scourge army across from us. With this many summons, this was no ordinary necromancer. This was a lich lord. Before the words of shock could even leave their mouths, in the next instant, all the skeleton mages conjured fireballs at the same time. 730,000, 732,000, 738,000. How much? Qin Sanjin's voice cracked. 730,000 damage? Are you shitting me? If 20-something thousand was still within the range they could accept, then 730,000 was straight up off the charts insane. I finally get why he could solo the heroic town, Sun Yuerong muttered to herself. Qin Sanjin nodded numbly. With that kind of damage, forget a level 15 heroic dungeon. He could steamroll a level 50 heroic dungeon all by himself. Guildmaster Qin, you're still being way too conservative. Sun Yuerong stared at my back and shook her head with a bitter smile. The way I see it, he's out to solo the entire Eternal Kingdom. Qin Sanjin sucked in a cold breath, his eyes instantly lighting up to the extreme. He'd hit the jackpot with a real dad. Father, wait for me. He dragged his greatsword and dashed straight over. Sun Yuerong stood where she was, feeling nothing but envy on top of envy. Just yesterday, she'd looked down on me as some second-rate newbie. Today, she couldn't even hope to reach my level anymore. A monster like this was completely out of her league. She even had the fleeting thought of rushing over to call me dad too, but she knew that wasn't realistic. That damn dog Qin Sanjin. What kind of insane dumb luck had he stumbled into? As for me, I'd long since sat down on a nearby boulder, watching the experience points frantically racking up before my eyes. Killed a level 20 undead warrior, 1,304 XP. Killed a level 21 undead spearman, 1,400. The XP quickly overflowed, and the excess automatically got stored in the cache. My quest progress soared, too. I looked at the panel with satisfaction. At this rate, it wouldn't be long before I could go find Mina's dad to take on his quest. Dad, want some sunflower seeds? Out of nowhere, Qin Sanjin pulled out a bag of sunflower seeds and eagerly held it out. There's hope for you yet, kid. I took them with a smile and casually added, go loot the corpses. Your gear is way too crappy. A world realm was different from a dungeon instance. You had to strip the gear off the mobs yourself. Naturally, I had no interest in that white and green junk. You got it, Dad. Qin Sanjin backed away with a fawning grin. Off in the distance, the garrison captain, who'd been bracing for a fight to the death, was utterly stunned by the scene before him. After holding the line all night, he'd thought today would be the town's doomsday. Who could have imagined a god would fall from the sky like this? He must be a deity sent to save the Eternal Kingdom, the garrison captain murmured. I lay back on the rock cracking sunflower seeds while my 200 skeleton babies chased down monsters all over the field, screeching with glee, the XP climbing steadily. The undead army was soon wiped clean, and the quest to defend Nightfall Town was completed without a hitch. Ding! Quest complete. Silver Knight's reputation plus 1,000. Relationship upgraded to friendly. Reward: 30,000 XP, plus a pair of blue-white rabbit hide shoes. Although the shoes were cloth armor, their spirit and agility stats were pretty good, and they also gave a 10% movement speed boost. Well, they'll do. I stuffed the pair of flip-flops I'd brought from Earth into my backpack. They were from home, after all, so I'd keep them as a memento, and put on the new shoes. Just then, Qin Sanjin and the others came back, shoulders loaded with a big pile of swords, spears, and clubs. These are all the gear that dropped. We picked up everything. I gave it a few glances, all whites and greens, with only 2 blues, a warrior's belt and an archer's green hat. This stuff was all trash to me. Slapped on the trade market, white and green gear was only worth a few $100. Keep the warrior one for yourself. Give the archer piece to Guild Master Sun, and split the rest among yourselves. You got it, Dad. Qin Sanjin grinned like an idiot. Sun Yuerong chimed in excitedly too. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, God of Valor. With that, she grabbed the green hat and ran off, her face flushed red. A wave of laughter immediately erupted behind her. It was also the first time since they'd entered the Eternal Kingdom that they'd genuinely laughed. While everyone was busy divvying up the loot, Qin Sanjin sidled up to me. My class change quest is complete. Oh, I was a bit surprised. Then why didn't you level up? Mine's an item-based class change. I have to go back to the class change hall at the Yuzhou Academy to turn in the quest. You want to head back? I raised an eyebrow. Sure, that's fine by me. This was the real world, unlike a dungeon instance. When the party leader left, the members didn't have to leave with him. No, that's not it. Qin Sanjin gave a shy smile. I want to stay with you. I just wasn't sure if that'd be okay. What's not okay about it? I patted his shoulder. You're the guild master, and I'm just a member. It's not like I can kick you out. Hee, thank you, father. Uffed. I nearly coughed up blood. Listen, Sanjin, can we maybe switch up what you call me? Switch to what? Qin Sanjin scratched his head, looking genuinely confused. Adoptive father? Daddy? Or do you just like Dad best? The corner of my mouth twitched. Forget it. I gave up on quibbling over what he called me. I could see it clearly now. This Qin Sanjin was a lovable dummy, and once he set his mind on something, not even 8 oxen could drag him off it. As we were talking, a soldier ran over and respectfully invited us to eat. Hearing that, I realized my stomach was actually a little empty, so of course I didn't refuse. Back at the inn, the garrison captain was already waiting at the door, with the remaining soldiers and the whole town's people behind him. Everyone looked at me the way they'd look at a savior. Silver Knights, salute the hero. At the garrison captain's command, all the soldiers snapped to attention and saluted in unison. The watching civilians knelt down one after another, and a few of the elderly among them broke into tears on the spot. Seeing this, both Qin Sanjin and Sun Yuerong were deeply moved. These people from another world were showing reverence for great Qin, and it stirred a swell of pride from the very depths of their being. No matter how dangerous this place was, no matter that comrades had died here, nothing could erase that sense of national honor. Even I couldn't help but grow solemn, quickly smiling and asking everyone to rise. Although I'd always treated this place like a game realm, the emotions these people were showing were completely real. The garrison captain respectfully ushered me into the inn. A long table sat in the main hall, piled high with vegetables and meat. Sure, it was all ordinary fare, but for the current nightfall town, it was already an incredibly lavish feast. Lord Mage, this is a bit humble. It's fine, as long as it fills us up. I waved him off and walked straight to the long table. Qin Sanjin and Sun Yuerong rushed forward, one pulling out a chair, the other setting out the utensils. I smiled and told them both to sit down and not be so stiff about it. Qin Sanjin happily plopped down beside me, while Sun Yuerong timidly took a seat next to me. In her eyes now, I was a god. Even though my level was still lower than hers, I was destined to reach heights she could never even hope to glimpse. After a few rounds of drinks, the garrison captain finally couldn't hold back and, hesitating, spoke up. Lord Mage, I have a presumptuous request. The moment his words fell, a quest panel popped up before me, Qin Sanjin and Sun Yuerong all at once. Quest triggered, Dawn of the Eternal Kingdom. This is a national fortune main quest, tied to the fate of all living beings in the eternal world, and will greatly influence the fortune of the Great Qin Empire. Accept. A national fortune main quest. Sun Yuerong's face was full of shock, and she trembled all over with excitement. As the Vice Guild Master of the Bright Moon Guild, she knew all too well what a National Fortune main quest meant. It was a super world-class quest. The rewards were guaranteed to be maxed out, and it came with Imperial Fortune contribution. Although she didn't know exactly what Imperial Fortune was used for, she did know that once your fortune contribution reached a certain threshold, it could raise your talent grade. She currently had a purple grade talent. If she could push it up one more level to orange, she'd qualify to join the Great Qin Empire's guild. But the quest hadn't been offered to her. She could only watch me longingly. God of Valor. The rewards for a National Fortune main quest are especially rich, and it comes with fortune contribution that can raise your talent grade. What? Fortune contribution can raise your talent grade. My spirits perked up at once. Sun Yuerong explained quietly. Once you earn Imperial Fortune contribution, your class talent can begin its grade advancement. Hearing that, my heart leapt with joy. Wouldn't that mean I could upgrade my crappy-as-hell talent into a gold-tier legendary one? At that thought, I looked at the garrison captain across from me. Whatever it is, go ahead and say it. As long as we can do it, we won't refuse. Thank you, Lord Mage. The garrison captain was overjoyed. Deep in the Silver Pine Forest lies Silver Moon Lake, the only water source for Silver City. It's now been seized by a disciple of the great sorcerer Amoth. I beg you, my lord, help us retake Silver Moon Lake. No problem. I agreed without hesitation. The quest panel refreshed accordingly. Objective: kill the Archmage Amanli, purge all undead at Silver Moon Lake, and reclaim Silver City's water source. Personal reward: 200,000 XP, 1 level, 30 purple class specific gear piece, 50 fortune contribution points. National reward: 50 Imperial Fortune points. Seeing those rewards, not only did Qin Sanjin's and Sun Yuerong's eyes go wide, but even I felt a spark of excitement. Never mind the 200,000 XP and the fortune contribution. That level, 30 purple gear alone, was worth a few million bucks out in the real world. The garrison captain let out a breath of relief and said respectfully, Lord Mage, please rest well tonight. We'll set out first thing tomorrow morning. Why wait until tomorrow? I asked instinctively. I had 200 skeleton bodyguards. Wouldn't we just steamroll straight over? God of Valor, Sun Yuerong explained. The undead go dormant during the day, so it's not nearly as dangerous then. Right. The garrison captain nodded along, wiping his sweat. They knew perfectly well. I was strong, but they were far too weak. Charging out at night out of sheer stubbornness would mean plunging right into the undead army and getting themselves killed. Fine. I didn't object. A little later was fine. No need to show off over something so trivial. After the meal, everyone returned to their rooms to rest. But no sooner had I lain down on the bed than the door was pushed open, and in walked a figure I never would have expected. When I woke the next morning, there was still a trace of lingering warmth on the bed. I grinned wickedly and grabbed the floral boxer shorts I'd brought from Earth. This girl Sun Yuerong would score a negative for being a wife, but she'd score a perfect 10 as a friend. She knew exactly what she wanted and wouldn't cause the slightest bit of trouble for either of us. And me? Someone who'd been thoroughly beaten down by life back on Earth. I'd long since seen through love and marriage. All I ever hoped for from a woman went no further than that kind of fleeting fling. Humming a little tune, I stepped out of the inn to find Nightfall Town's garrison already assembled outside. But among the players, only Qin Sanjin and Sun Yuerong were left. Sun Yuerong sidled up, her face flushed, and explained in a low voice. They thought the National Fortune quest was too dangerous, so they all left the party and went back last night. A National Fortune quest was more than 10 times harder than a small quest, and it was bound to pit us against a powerful boss. No matter how monstrously I'd performed yesterday, those people didn't dare bet their lives on it. It's fine. I gave a calm smile and looked at the garrison captain. Let's move out. The garrison captain led over a white horse, hesitating a little. The road is somewhat long. I'm not sure if my lord knows how to. I paused for a moment, then swung my leg over and, to my surprise, mounted the horse smoothly. It seemed that after my class change and leveling up, my physical condition was more than a little better than before. No wonder the Qin clan's ancestor could live over 2,000 years. Leveling up here was apparently the same principle as cultivating immortality. At that thought, I felt a surge of energy, growing even more eager to grind monsters and level up. Her face reddening, Sun Yuerong asked, God of Valor, I don't know how to ride. Could you give me a ride? Of course. I gave a half smile. After all, we're good friends, aren't we? You're awful. Sun Yuerong pouted coquettishly. Beside us, Qin Sanjin scratched his head, utterly baffled. What did that mean? When did Dad and Guildmaster Sun become good friends? Unfortunately, no one was going to explain it to him. We'd already galloped off into the distance. Half an hour later, we arrived at the Silver Pine Forest. Before we even entered, just standing at the mouth of it, you could feel the thick, suffocating aura of death within. Even the warhorse beneath me began snorting uneasily, to say nothing of the soldiers. The garrison captain's face turned grim as he warned. A manly and the undead soldiers go dormant during the day, but her blood wolf king won't. Relax, wait for them to make the first move, and the advantage is mine. I gave a light squeeze of the horse's belly, and the white horse stepped into the forest. Clatter! Gray mist enveloped us in an instant, and everything around us turned eerie. The trees seemed to bare their claws, as if they'd spring to life the very next second. From deep in the woods came wave after wave of low, woo-woo growling. Sun Yuerong trembled with fear. Screw it, wolves. Qin Sanjin flipped off his horse and drew the greatsword from his back. The garrison captain and the others dismounted too, taking up defensive stances. A woo! A wolf howl suddenly rang out, piercing through the entire forest like a train whistle. From the woods on every side, countless enormous blood wolves came surging out. These wolves were taller than a grown man, their eyes glowing eerie blue, clearly all fully undead. I took one look at their stats. Dark blood wolves, level 25, HP 365,000. That was already about on par with a level 15 heroic dungeon boss. A 20-person party would struggle just to take on one, yet here there were hundreds, even thousands. God of Valor, Dad, Qin Sanjin, and Sun Yuerong instinctively turned to look back at me. But I didn't even bother getting off my horse. I just opened my mouth and started chanting the summoning incantation. After a whole night of allocating stat points, my spirit had already stacked up to 695,000, letting me summon 280 skeletons, with damage now boosted to 690,000 and 1,030,000. Hexagram magic circles lit up around us, and countless skeletons burrowed up from underground. Everyone present couldn't help swallowing hard. They'd seen it once yesterday, and seeing it again today still felt unbelievable. I couldn't be bothered with what they were thinking and gave a light wave of my hand. Boys, time to grind. All the skeleton warriors charged out with a roar, while the skeleton mages hung back and conjured up massive fireballs. 1,020,000, 1,020,000, 680,000. Seeing those absurd damage numbers, Qin Sanjin and Sun Yuerong went completely numb. Yesterday, it was only a few 100,000. How had it broken 1,000,000 today? And the number of summons had clearly jumped up a huge amount too. Over the course of one night, how on earth had he gotten this much stronger? Come on, let's charge straight into a manly's lair. I gave the horse's belly another squeeze, and the white horse leisurely started forward. The Nightfall garrison cheerfully led the way up front, while Qin Sanjin excitedly dashed off to loot corpses. Only Sun Yuerong looked a little dazed. It was only now that she truly realized just how wise last night's decision had been. Even if she only clung to this powerhouse this one time and never crossed paths with me again, she'd still come out well ahead. I rode the white horse, ambling leisurely down the main road. In the forests on both sides, countless dark blood wolves came charging one after another. But before they could even get close, they were cut down where they stood. Some got smashed into ash by fireballs the instant they poked their heads out. Even the undead mobs hiding in their dens, watching the show, were sent to meet their maker in the blink of an eye. Green XP numbers never stopped popping up before the three of us. Oh right, I suddenly asked, Guildmaster Sun, how much XP can you rack up along the way here? In a party, if you don't touch the monsters yourself, you still get 10%. That's not bad at all. I nodded. By the time we clear the Eternal Kingdom, you'll be around level 40. What? Sun Yuerong was stunned on the spot. You're planning to carry me through the entire Eternal Kingdom? What? You don't want to? I raised an eyebrow at her. I want to. Sun Yuerong nodded again and again, her whole face flushed with excitement. She knew that going from level 22 to level 40, even hiring a professional carry team, would cost tens of millions. Grinding it solo, she'd need at least a dozen years or more. If this trip really did get her to level 40, then even without a talent upgrade, she'd qualify for the Imperial Guild. Hitting that level in her early 20s would make her an absolute rarity. Just then, Qin Sanjin came sprinting over, carrying a longbow that shimmered with purple light. Dad, a purple bow dropped. Not bad. I gave a calm smile. Give it to Guildmaster Sunday. Qin Sanjin handed the bow over. Guildmaster Sun, you'd better thank Dad properly. This is our first purple gear. It's worth a few million at least. Sun Yuerong took it excitedly. She hadn't even owned a single piece of purple gear before. Dad, up ahead there's a castle on Silver Moon Lake. The Wolf King should be inside. Let's go take a look. I gave the horse's rump another crack of the whip. Soon, we reached the shore of Silver Moon Lake. Suspended over the center of the lake was a black castle, the very Scourge Castle from Mina's memories. What excited me was that the area around the castle was densely packed with undead, but that same number, in Qin Sanjin's and Sun Yuerong's eyes, became a boundless source of terror. We'd just cut a path through the entire Silver Pine Forest, and between the bloodwolves and various small creatures, we'd only killed 1,000 or so, a record no guild could ever match. But who could have imagined that outside this castle lurked over 10,000 undead? Besides the dark blood wolves, there were wild bears, boars, horses, elephants, and eagles, and even more numerous were the layers upon layers of slumbering skeletal undead, packed so densely it made your scalp crawl. Clearly, the undead army that had attacked Nightfall Town last night had marched out from right here. Damn, that's way too many. The corner of Qin Sanjin's mouth twitched, the scars on his face twisting into a knot. Yeah, Sun Yuerong trembled. No wonder they refused to come. They must have seen this coming. The garrison captain looked at me bitterly. Lord Mage, if you're confident you can kill him manly, we can help draw those undead beasts away. Oh, my interest was piqued. What method do you have to lure away several thousand undead beasts all at once? The garrison captain explained. We have a specially made beast-luring incense that can stir up every undead beast within a 6-mile radius. You've got something that good? Let me have a look. The garrison captain hesitated for a moment, then pulled out a small vial and handed it over. A panel immediately popped up before my eyes. Specially made beast-luring incense, epic quality, refined from the bodily fluids of a powerful female wyvern. Can intimidate most beasts while simultaneously stirring undead beasts into a frenzy. A wyvern? I was shocked. Your eternal kingdom even has dragons. We do. The garrison captain nodded. The Eternal Kingdom's guardian beast is a red dragon. It's just that it was captured by the Scourge Army's dark sorcerer. Awesome. I was so excited I broke out in goosebumps. As a descendant of the dragon, the thing I most wanted to lay eyes on was the fabled appearance of a true dragon. Oh, right. The garrison captain suddenly warned urgently. Lord Mage, whatever you do, don't open. Unfortunately, it was already too late. Pop. I'd already twisted off the cap long ago. Oh my dear mother. Qin Sanjin frantically clawed at his head. Sun Yuerong, the garrison captain, and the others were all utterly dumbstruck on the spot. Roar. In an instant, every undead beast along the entire Silver Moon Lakeshore jolted awake and, as if gone mad, came surging at us. Sky and ground, a dark, seething mass. The ground shook without pause. Waves churned up across the lake, and standing there, we felt our feet being jolted off the earth again and again. The skeleton warriors and skeleton mages around us immediately launched their attacks. But there were simply too many beasts, a good few thousand of them, and they were too close. Even with 280 skeletons dropping one monster per hit, they couldn't keep up. Damn, we're finished. Qin Sanjin couldn't help cursing. Sun Yuerong's lovely face went ashen, too scared to even speak. As for the Nightfall garrison crew, they just collapsed to the ground. Without even the courage to resist, it was only a few hundred yards away, and with several thousand undead beasts charging in, the trampling alone could grind a person into pulp. At the very moment everyone was in despair, I calmly raised my hand. Bone Prison. Clatter. Countless bones burst up from around me, unfurling with a thunderous roar in a spiral pattern. Every undead beast that charged in, whether a palm-sized chick or a sky-high giant elephant, was skewered and hoisted into the air. 34,400, 34,003, 34,005. Across a range of more than 2 miles, there were nothing but damage numbers, along with countless beast corpses pinned in midair. The garrison captain and the others sat dumbly on the ground, repeating over and over just 3 words, so terrifying. I had no time to deal with them. I was blissfully watching the experience points floating past before my eyes. That wave in the silver pine forest had probably netted around 2 million. This wave was worth at least 7 or 8 million. But none of that compared to those layers upon layers of skeletons around the Black Castle. By my estimate, there were at least 10,000 of them piled up there, and all above level 28. The problem was, my bone prison couldn't force its way over there. For one, it couldn't be cast on water, so the moment it hit Silver Moon Lake, it fizzled out. And besides, it could only pin monsters in midair. It couldn't kill them outright, so those ranged undead could still cast their skills. With several thousand skills raining down at once, I could tank it with my mana shield worth a few million. But what about Qin Sanjin and the others? I need to figure out a way to wake those skeletons up and lure them over here. I stared at the pile of bones by the castle across the water, stroking my chin in thought. I can do it. Sun Yuerong, who'd been gazing at me love-struck this whole time, suddenly cut in. You can. I was a bit surprised. It's at least 1,000 yards from here to the castle. You sure you can pull it off? Sun Yuerong nodded. My purple talent can upgrade Eagle Eye into an Eagle Eye Aura, giving ranged teammates an extra 3,000 yards of range. Really? I was overjoyed and teased her with a sly grin. So it turns out our little Rongrong can shoot that far, huh? You're terrible. Sun Yuerong pouted coquettishly, then asked with a reddened face. So should I turn on the aura now? Go for it. Sun Yuerong pressed her index finger to her brow and murmured with her eyes closed. Then she snapped them open, and 5 words came out of her sexy little mouth. Eagle Eye Aura. Activate. A beam of white light rippled out from between her brows, and everyone felt their spirits sharpen, their gazes seeming to pierce straight through the entire forest. My skeleton mages instantly got a massive upgrade. Their fireballs could now be hurled 3,000 yards away. Boom, boom, boom. Fireballs rained down across the sky in every direction. Those screeching undead beasts met their maker before they could even close the distance. Of course, some fireballs slammed straight into the Silver Moon Castle, jolting the slumbering skeletal undead awake. Roar! With a furious roar, all the skeletal undead lit up with an eerie blue glow, and the entire castle seemed to ignite, blue flames shooting straight up into the sky. Right after, countless undead came surging madly toward the bridge. Bring it on! I waved my hand excitedly. Skeleton warriors, plug up the bridgehead. Mages, blast them from behind. All the skeleton warriors charged the bridgehead, screeching. The bridge was about 25 feet wide, and 140 skeleton warriors packed themselves layer upon layer at the bridge's mouth, while above them, countless great fireballs poured down. 1,020,000, 1,020,000, 680,000. Damage numbers kept surfacing, and the skeletal undead shattered apart wave after wave. The undead warriors near the bridge quickly rushed the bridgehead, clashing head-on with the skeleton warriors. The green XP numbers started shooting up above my head again. Watching this dense, unending tide of undead falling one after another, Qin Sanjin, Sun Yuerong, and the garrison captain all felt their scalps go numb. This was over 10,000 undead. If you lined them all up in one spot, they could fill half a soccer field. It would take an elite professional player guild several thousand strong at the very least. For a team like Sun Yuerong's, even 10,000 might not be enough. Yet now, I was steamrolling all of them single-handedly. Not bad, just a little on the slow side. I stroked my chin, yet my face wore a look of disdain. This is slow. Sun Yuerong was flabbergasted, blurting out, Daddy. God of Valor. I'm already almost level 25 right now. Exactly, Dad. Qin Sanjin nodded too. I ground for half a year in dungeons, and it wasn't as much XP as these few minutes. Slow, way too slow. I was quite dissatisfied. If only I had an area of effect skill or summons that could do AoE damage. Sun Yuerong quickly said, the tier 2 skeleton mages of an intermediate necromancer can cast Flame, Storm, and Blizzard. But since you're a world tier class change, I don't know if you have those. I probably do. Even I wasn't entirely sure. World tier class changes were one of a kind. There wasn't a single guide online to look them up. Roar. Just as we were talking, a furious roar suddenly came from inside the castle. A burly man, hoisting a dark green greatsword, charged out leading dozens of undead knights. The realm boss is here. I shot a glance at his stats. Baron Shiva, level 30, HP 1,595,000, with vicious skills like Whirlwind Slash and Charge in his kit. His description gave me a laugh. Once a proud paladin, he was killed by his own wife and turned into an undead killing machine. Oh no. The garrison captain's face changed drastically. Lord Mage, that's a Manly's husband. He's extremely. Before he could even finish, Baron Shiva let out a scream. A Manly. By the soul of a paladin, I curse you for all eater. Boom. The massive corpse crashed heavily to the ground, crushing several skeletons beneath it, and a striking purple glow rose off his body. Clearly, purple gear had dropped. Killed Baron Shiva, level 30. Obtained 282,000 experience points. The garrison captain was completely dumbstruck. Sun Yuerong and Qin Sanjin swallowed hard, too. A level 30 realm boss with over 1,000,000 HP, and he couldn't even finish his dramatic dialogue before he was gone. It was just too absurd. Sanjin, come on, let's go loot. I gave a light flick of the whip, and the white horse headed toward the bridge. By now, that 10,000-strong undead army had been killed down to almost nothing. 10,000 monsters sounded terrifying, but they truly couldn't withstand the great fireballs of 140 skeleton mages. These fireballs had only a 1-second cast time, and after landing a killing blow, they became instant cast. It was basically a Gatling gun skeleton mage squad. So those 10,000 undead were wiped out clean in just a little over half an hour, start to finish. Qin Sanjin, shouldering his greatsword, dashed excitedly to the very front. His favorite thing was looting corpses and opening chests, and besides, this corpse was glowing purple. Sure enough, he pulled a greatsword off Baron Shiva's body. The corroding twilight sword, rare quality, capable of dealing a corrosion effect that drained HP every second and reduced armor by 50%. Nice, your hands really are lucky. I clicked my tongue in admiration. First you pulled a purple bow, now a two-handed sword. Come on, pull out another piece of gear for me. You got it, Dad. Qin Sanjin gave a sly chuckle and reached into the corpse to rummage some more. With a clink, a ring glowing with purple light rolled out. My God, 2 purples off 1 monster. Sun Yuerong couldn't help exclaiming. In the entire Eternal Kingdom realm, a Manly only counted as a minor boss, and this cuckolded baron was at most an elite mob. Getting even 1 purple gear from him would be lucky, yet Qin Sanjin had pulled out 2. His luck was just off the charts. Then again, if his luck weren't good, he wouldn't have managed to latch onto a powerhouse like me in the first place. Dad, you can wear this ring. Qin Sanjin excitedly handed the ring over. I took it and looked. Call of the Abyss. Grant summons a 10% boost to all speed. Now that's good stuff. My eyes lit up. Movement speed, that's a universal stat. Bottom line, even a little skeleton taking a dump would get sped up by it. Keep going, keep going. Grab one for Commander Sun too. That's all there is, Dad. Qin Sanjin had literally stripped Baron Shiva down to his underwear. Fine, forget it. Let's go pay his wife a visit. I gave the reins another flick, and my white horse strode right into the castle. Qin Sanjin followed, hauling that big purple greatsword over his shoulder, while he tucked the blue plague greatsword away into his backpack. The inside of the castle was huge. The moment you stepped through the door, there was a massive courtyard stretching over 1,000 square meters. Baron Shiva had led all his monsters out to their deaths, so there wasn't so much as a single monster hair left inside. Riding my white horse, leading my 280 skeleton babies, I headed straight for the great hall in the center of the castle. In the hall, a woman in a sexy sorcerer's robe sat regally in a chair. A giant blood wolf sprawled at her feet, along with more than a dozen powerful dark blood wolves. A single thought, and the stat panels popped up one after another. The ones at her feet were Blood Wolf Guards, level 28. The biggest one was the Blood Wolf King, level 30, with a whopping 2.36 million HP. And the woman in the chair was exactly the target I was looking for, Grand Sorceress Amanli, level 32, HP 4.57 million, and her mana was closing in on 8 million. She was the chief disciple of the undead Archmage Amoth, a master of shadow magic, and her description even threw in an extra line: psychologically twisted and deeply deranged. Seeing those two terrifying numbers on the panel, Sun Yuerong and Qin Sanjin completely lost their composure. Elite monsters like that Baron Shiva from earlier, there were dozens of them in here. And the HP on the Blood Wolf King and Grand Sorceress Amanli was just absurdly high. One at 2.36 million, the other at 4.57 million. This was a level 20 World Secret Realm, and the most anyone entering could hope to be was level 30. A fully geared level 30 profession user, with all 4 core stats maxed out, might barely break 200, and even against a defenseless target, they'd only hit for about 3,000 per strike. With numbers like that, how were you supposed to grind down a boss with 4.57 million HP? Not to mention that terrifyingly high strength. You'd need a Guardian Warrior or a Paladin just to tank it. But before these two could finish being shocked, I'd already kicked the big wooden door wide open. Bam! Every Blood Wolf guard in the hall jolted awake, and up on the dais, the Blood Wolf King and Amanli both turned to stare in surprise. What are you all looking at? I gave the door a few more hard kicks. Room check, room check. Everybody get your IDs out. You damn little worm. Amanli was about to snap at me, but before the words even left her mouth, she saw over 100 giant fireballs come flying out from above my head, lighting up the entire hall in an instant. The very air was set ablaze by the heat. Boom, boom, boom. Half the fireballs slammed into Amanli. The other half crashed down on the Blood Wolf King and that pack of guards. Dense clusters of damage numbers popped up all at once. 2 World Secret Realm bosses and dozens of Blood Wolf guards. They didn't even have time to let out a single grunt before I mercilessly ground them all into ash. Watching this scene, Sun Yuerong and Qin Sanjin felt more than just shock. A flicker of pity even rose in their hearts. For such mighty World Secret Realm bosses, that was a pretty pathetic way to go. I didn't have time to care what they were thinking. My eyes were fixed on the green experience frantically refreshing before me. Killing the Blood Wolf King, 382,000. Killing Grand Sorceress Amanli, 619,000. Right after that, a whole string of notifications popped up. Congratulations! First kill on the main story boss of the fallen Eternal Kingdom, Grand Sorceress Amanli. First stage of the nation's fortune quest complete. National reward, 50 Imperial Fortune points. Personal rewards, 200,000 experience, 1 level, 30 purple item, 50 Imperial Fortune contribution points. Fortune contribution, fortune level, and profession talent upgrade functions all unlocked. Hearing this string of unlock notifications, I quickly pulled up my panel. Sure enough, a new button labeled Fortune Contribution had appeared next to Profession Talents. I tapped it, and a little yellow panel popped up. It showed my Fortune level at 1, Imperial Fortune Contribution at 50, and my Profession Talent still at rank F, with progress at 0 out of 1,000. Seeing this, I paused for a moment. I hadn't expected that going from rank F to rank E would take a full 1,000 Imperial Fortune Contribution points. Good thing I had my cheat. As long as I could pick up these quests, hitting 1,000 shouldn't be too hard. But for an ordinary player, this function was pure decoration. Even if they somehow unlocked it by luck, all they could do was stare helplessly. Then again, considering how hard these quests were, this thing was never meant for regular folks anyway. But what were this fortune level and fortune point exchange all about? Were there other perks down the line? I was still mulling it over when Qin Sanjin suddenly cried out, "Dad, looks like a legendary item dropped." What? I jerked my head up and saw a beam of golden light erupt skyward from Amanli's corpse. No way, it really is a golden legendary. Delighted, I flipped off my horse and hurried over with a few quick little steps. Sun Yuerong rushed to keep up too. Except this sexy, undead Grand Sorceress had already been burned to a charred black crisp. What a shame, Qin Sanjin said, his face full of regret. Shame my ass. My old face darkened. Hurry up and use those big red hands of yours to search her. You got it. Qin Sanjin crouched down and rummaged around, quickly pulling out a staff, a level 25 Dark Sorcerer's purple wand. That damn thing's for sorcerers. Keep digging. Qin Sanjin dug out a belt, a pair of shoes, and a whole pile of gear, but no matter how he searched, he couldn't find a hint of gold. In the end, he stripped a manly completely bare, and still nothing. What's going on? Where's my golden gear? I was baffled. Qin Sanjin looked just as lost. But what really left the two of us dumbstruck was that a manly's corpse was still glowing gold, which meant that legendary item was still on her body somewhere. Just then, Sun Yuerong spoke up softly, her face flushed red. The golden light seems to be coming from her. You know, that place. The two of us followed her gaze. Qin Sanjin steeled himself and dug in once more, finally managing to pull out the gleaming golden object. I took it and had a look. A manly's magic orb, legendary quality, with a full 8 bonus stats, plus 69 to each of the 4 core stats, plus 100% speed when crafting equipment, error rate reduced to 0, and a chance to directly craft items of ancient or even mythic quality. The description read that this was the most beloved accessory of Imperial Tier Master Tailor Manly during her lifetime. I gotta say, I weighed it in my hand with a look of distaste. The stats are genuinely great, top-tier divine gear for a tailor. Sun Yuerong looked a bit disappointed too. Yeah, too bad tailoring's a support profession. I stroked my chin, thinking it over. Commander Sun, how about? No. Sun Yuerong went pale with fright. That's really out of the question. Look how scared you got. I flashed a mischievous grin. I'm just asking you to figure out a way to wipe this orb clean, otherwise how am I supposed to shove it in my backpack? You're terrible. Can't you say what you mean clearly? Sun Yuerong's whole face turned red as she pulled a handkerchief from her pocket and handed it over. Smiling, I took it, wrapped up the orb, and tossed it into my backpack. By the time I'd finished tidying up on my end, Qin Sanjin had finished looting his pile too. He'd gotten lucky and picked up a few purple items, though none were usable, so he'd just have to hold on to them to sell later. Once we'd cleaned the place out, the three of us headed back the way we'd come. Yunyang City, at the entrance to the Eternal Kingdom's secret realm, was still packed with people. Every day, large teams poured in, and large teams came stumbling out in disarray. The worst off among them was the Bright Moon Legion. They went in with 20 people and came out with all their rookies dead and even several of their level 25 veterans lost. Ji Buoxiao and Zhao Taizhu were just about to lead their own team in when they spotted the members of the Bright Moon Legion. Xiaoli? Why are you guys out so early? Xiaoli was the healer priest from Sun Yuerong's team, the one who'd been so scared she cried. Her face was still full of lingering terror. Deputy Commander Ji, Captain Zhao, don't even get me started. It's absolutely horrifying in there. What happened? The two of them frowned. The 5 teams their 2 legions had sent in earlier had all gone silent, which was exactly why they decided to lead a team in and scout things out themselves. This team of theirs was all elites, and the main tank was a level 30 heavyweight. The little mobs in there are as vicious as heroic dungeon bosses. No way. Zhao Taizhu flat out refused to believe it. You sure you're not exaggerating? Why would I lie to you? Xiaoli's face was full of horror. And there are tons of them. We did one quest and got surrounded by over 1,000 monsters. Ji Buoxiao's mouth twitched, and he couldn't help asking, then what about Deputy Commander Sun? She didn't. She's fine, Xiaoli said, shaking her head. But she ran off to do a nation's fortune quest. What? The two of them were stunned on the spot. Is she out of her mind? She actually dared to touch a nation's fortune quest. Nation's fortune quests, as the name suggests, are quests that can affect the nation's fortune. The most common ones are secret realm national wars, organized by the Great Qin Empire's legions, often mobilizing tens of thousands of people, and even then, casualties are unavoidable. Then there are the secret realm kingdom assassination quests, smaller in scale, but you still need 20 elites with A-rank red talents or higher just to dare form a team. The hardest are the Salvation Tier Nation's fortune quests. Those are basically impossible to complete. Great Qin's existing secret realms have triggered several of them, and without exception, every single time they failed to fully wipe out the Calamity Legion. From ancient times to now, not a single one has ever succeeded. Right now, the Eternal Kingdom had just opened, and the super legions hadn't turned their full attention to it yet. So it was definitely either a national war or an assassination quest. But Sun Yuerong was just a ranger with a C-rank purple talent. She didn't even qualify to join such a team. For her to bite the bullet and charge in any way, if that wasn't insane, what was? I think she's lost it too, Shally huffed. But she just wouldn't listen. She insisted on tagging along with the brave god and Commander Qin. Tagging along with who? Both their expressions changed. Chen Yong and Qin Sanjin. Qin Sanjin founded a legion, and Chen Yong's in it too. Zhao Taizhu quickly cut in. You're saying the three of them went to do a nation's fortune quest? An assassination quest. Shally nodded. I don't know what type it is. I just know the quest is called Dawn of the Eternal Kingdom. Ji Boxiao practically coughed up a mouthful of blood on the spot. Just from that name. That's a Salvation Tier nation's fortune quest. Zhao Taizhu shook his head helplessly. They're finished. They're as good as dead. Huh? That can't be. Shally's face went white in an instant. The brave god is really strong. Heh. Ji Boxiao cut her off with a cold laugh. Chen Yong can solo heroic dungeons. He can activate world-class changes. Sure, he's impressive. But at the end of the day, he's still just a mortal. What do you mean? Shally didn't understand. Zhao Taizhu let out a sigh. Because the opponents in a Salvation Tier quest are gods. How could a mortal ever be a match for a god? Exactly. Ji Boxiao nodded too. Looks like Yunyang City's brave god is going to be nothing more than a flash in the pan. Shally was left dazed by all this. But just then, a cold system announcement suddenly rang out from that black portal of light. Congratulations, the main story boss of the world's secret realm, the fallen Eternal Kingdom, Grand Sorceress Amanli, has been slain. Boss battle duration, 10 seconds. Killing members, Qin Sanjin, Chen Yong, Sun Yuerong. First stage of the nation's fortune quest complete. Great Qin's national fortune increased by 50 points. This announcement is hereby made to all Great Qin profession users. The secret realm entrance instantly erupted into chaos. Holy crap, holy crap, holy crap. Does the brave god have to be this ridiculous? We haven't even entered the dungeon yet, and he's already down the boss. I seriously want to know how the hell he killed a boss in 10 seconds. No, I've got to go back and prep myself so I can go meet Daddy Brave God. Every profession user was going nuts, especially that pack of love-struck girls. Each one more worked up than the last. Ji Boxiao and Zhao Taizhu were completely dumbfounded too. 1 second they declared with absolute certainty that these three were as good as dead, and the next, the secret realm's main story boss had been offed by just 3 people in a battle that lasted only 10 seconds. Was this some kind of joke? Even if you threw that boss into a cesspit and choked it to death, it'd take more than 10 seconds. Shally was even more incredulous, her eyes going wide. Besides the quest and the boss, she'd also noticed Sun Yuerong's level. It had clearly been level 22 that morning. So how had she suddenly jumped to level 25? You have to understand, it had taken Shally herself 3 whole years to go from 22 to 25, and she'd gone through 8 or 9 boyfriends in the process. Sun Yuerong had done it in half a day. As dim as she was, even she knew she'd missed out on an incredible opportunity today. The few remaining members of the Bright Moon Legion looked absolutely miserable. Forget everything else. Just the purple item awarded by that quest was worth several million. Too bad there's no such thing as a do-over in this world. Yunyang No. 2 Middle School, Teacher's Dormitory. Qin Bing was lying on her bed, chatting on the phone with her best friend. I already told you, it's not like that. He's just my student, Qin Bing said, exasperated. A scornful voice came from the other end of the line. Student my ass. Auntie Yu announced it publicly the moment she got back to Yuzhou yesterday. Your fiancé's name is Chun Yong, the once-in-a-millennium prodigy of Great Qin. So what? Qin Bing said flatly. My mom said the year before last that I was going to marry into the Shao family of Shengjing. Where am I now? He's really not your fiancé? The voice on the other end double-checked. No, Qin Bing said with absolute finality. If they dare try to force it again, I'll just change my surname. The voice on the other end couldn't help but admire her. You're really something. No wonder you're the heir of the Frost Lord. Of course. Qin Bing grew smug. Once I finish my third class change quest and get the true Frost inheritance, this girl's going to start her own family tree. Well, in that case, the voice on the other end said with a laugh, I'm going to make my move. Go ahead, Qin Bing said, unconcerned. Don't say I didn't warn you. He's an orphan. You'll have your hands full. He's an orphan? The voice on the other end froze for a moment, then suddenly cried out, Oh my God! 10 seconds? How did he do it? What are you talking about? Have you lost it? Qin Bing frowned. Phew. The voice on the other end took a deep breath, then asked seriously, Qin Bing, you really don't want to marry Qin Yong? I don't. Qin Bing snapped, flustered and annoyed by the question. Fine, then this girl's calling dibs on him. The voice on the other end hung up excitedly. What a lunatic, Qin Bing muttered. What's so great about an orphan anyway? She didn't actually bear Qin Yong any ill will, but she absolutely wasn't going to go throwing herself at him just because of one word from her mother or because the guy happened to have some talent. Otherwise, she wouldn't have brought her golden talent all the way out to a small place like Yunyang to be a principal. But no sooner had she hung up than a message popped up on her phone. The main story boss of the Eternal Kingdom, Grand Sorceress Amanli, has been slain. Battle duration, 10 seconds. Killing members, Qin Yong, Qin Sanjin, Sun Yuero. No way. Qin Bing's expression instantly turned sour. Yuzhou, Eagle Mountain, inside a luxurious villa belonging to the Qin clan. Yu Hongyi was reclining on the sofa, cracking sunflower seeds while watching TV, a pair of long, slender legs propped up on the coffee table and swaying idly. She'd just woken from her afternoon nap, and her tousled mane of loose waves made her look languid and seductive. Beside her sat a middle-aged man with a dark, sullen face. Yu Hongyi, can't you be a little more serious? I am being serious. Yu Hongyi brushed him off offhandedly, then fixed her eyes on the TV and laughed, looking utterly captivating. But the sullen-faced man was fuming. What exactly are you trying to do? Why do you insist on tangling Qin Bing up with that kid? TCH. Yu Hongyi pursed her lips. I'm just doing what you wanted, finding her a good match. A good match. The man let out a mocking laugh. An orphan with no background whatsoever. That counts as a good match. An orphan? Yu Hongyi shook her head with a smile. Qin Tianyi, your vision is getting narrower and narrower. This sullen-faced man was none other than Qin Tianyi, the Yuzhou Legion commander, Qin Bing's father. He burst out laughing. I sit in the seat of the Yuzhou Legion commander, and you're lecturing me about vision? Don't you find that laughable? Yuzhou Legion commander? Yu Hongyi swept a contemptuous glance over him. That position was indeed considered top tier in Great Qin, but in her eyes it was nothing more than clinging to the familiar, hopelessly foolish. Once your strength reached a certain realm, all these titles and positions were just passing clouds. Back in the day, the fearless spirit Qin Tianyi had in his youth had genuinely fascinated her. What a pity that in the end, he'd still sunk into the quagmire of power, fighting tooth and nail over such trifles. He was nearly 50 now, and his fourth-class change quest was still stuck in place. That single glance made Qin Tianyi's blood boil. I don't care what you promised that kid. Qin Bing is the Shao family's bride, and there's no way she's marrying him. Oh, is that so? Yu Hongyi smiled faintly. Well, since you're so unwilling to part with your daughter, you certainly can't have any say over my own affairs, can you? What do you mean? Qin Tianyi's eyes narrowed. Are you telling me you'd fall out with me over that little orphan? And what if I would? Yu Hongyi arched a delicate brow. Qin Tianyi was about to explode with rage when a news bulletin suddenly forced its way onto the TV screen. Great victory in the New World's secret realm. The main story boss of the Eternal Kingdom, Grand Sorceress Amanli, has been slain. Killing members, Qin Yong, Qin Sanjin, Sun Yuero. First stage of the nation's fortune quest, Dawn of the Eternal Kingdom, complete. Great Qin's national fortune increased by 50 points. The couple were both left thunderstruck by the announcement. Yu Hongyi rubbed her eyes several times, trying to confirm she wasn't seeing things. At their level, they knew all too well what this announcement meant. Forget the secret realm's main story boss being killed. Just those 50 points of national fortune were enough to send shockwaves across the entire world. Ever since the eerie world had descended, the number of times a nation's fortune quest had succeeded could be counted on one hand. The few successes Great Qin had ever achieved were all thanks to the Qin clan's ancestor personally stepping in at an enormous cost. And Great Qin's current national fortune was only a little over 5,500 points. Yet even that was enough to rank in the world's top 3. And now, just a few days after his class change, Chen Yong had earned Great Qin 50 points of national fortune. If Great Qin's ancestor found out, he might just tear open the void and come back to see what on earth was going on. How is this possible? Qin Tianyi refused to believe it. Isn't he only level 20? How could he possibly kill a Secret Realm's main story boss? How could he possibly complete a nation's fortune quest? Yu Hongyi laughed so hard she doubled over. But very quickly her lovely face turned cold, and she calmly shot Qin Tianyi a glance. I'm about to prepare for my 6th class change. As for the Qin clan's affairs, don't come to me about them anymore. With that, she raised a hand and pulled open a door in midair, then swayed her hips and slowly walked through it. Damn it! Qin Tianyi's old face went ashen with fury, but then he began muttering darkly to himself. No, this kid. I have to make him work for me. At the World Alliance, in the vast Secret Realm Hall, profession users from all the world's nations wove through the crowds in an endless stream. At the center of the crowd stood a black stone monument, its very top engraved with golden characters in the scripts of every nation. The Chinese characters the most forceful of all, Monument of National Fortune. On the monument, the Eagle Nation topped the list at 10,086 points. The Giant Bear Nation followed close behind at 6,032, and Great Qin ranked 3rd at 5,540. Below them, the various small nations, the Little Stick Country, the Potato Country, all had only a few hundred points. And that former Chrysanthemum Dynasty, the Small Days Country, had a pitiful 250. Just then, the Monument of National Fortune suddenly flashed with golden light, letting out a cold system announcement. Announcement: Great Qin's national fortune has increased by 50 points. Current national fortune, 5,590 points. Holy crap, what's going on? How did Great Qin's national fortune go up? No idea. Could some legion have completed a nation's fortune quest? Every profession user was stunned. This monument of national fortune sat here day in and day out, but the numbers on it barely budged in decades. The last time it changed was over 10 years ago, when the Eagle Nation went to war with some small country. But no one could have imagined that Great Qin's national fortune, which hadn't moved in nearly 50 years, would suddenly jump by a full 50 points. You have to understand, that Small Days Country had accumulated only 250 points over more than 2,000 years, from the Chrysanthemum Dynasty until now. Great Qin had just gained 1/5 of that in a single stroke. How could anyone not be shocked? The profession users from the Small Days Country in particular were all thrown into a panic. What? Great Qin's national fortune went up again. Could the Qin ancestor dragon have returned? We haven't had good times for more than a few days. Baka, stop babbling. Hurry and send someone to investigate. The Eternal Kingdom. 90,000 li of territory had nearly all fallen, with only Silver City still barely holding on. This crude city of knights had become humanity's last refuge. At this moment, I was riding my tall white horse down the street, with Sun Yuerong nestled in my arms, looking around curiously in every direction. She'd been into world's secret realms a few times before, but every time she could only take the lowest tier quests and collect the cheapest rewards. She'd worn herself down from a girl in the bloom of youth into a sexy young woman, and had only reached level 22. Yet after just half a day with me, she'd shot straight up to level 25, and could even set foot in the capital of a secret realm kingdom. It'd be a lie to say her heart wasn't aching a little. Truly, comparison is a killer. When you compare goods, you throw the worst ones out, and when you compare people, the worst one might as well be dead. She didn't even know how she was going to face that Legion commander husband of hers, more than a decade her senior, when she got back. Led by the city guard Captain Rock, we soon arrived at Silver City's Night Manor, an ordinary bluestone courtyard, but in Silver City, this was already the finest building around. A number of wounded and maimed soldiers lay outside the gate, clearly having just been pulled back from the battlefield. We'd just reached the entrance when we heard a woman's voice ring out from inside the courtyard, sharp with anger and alarm. What? The commander has been trapped by the undead army. Silver City has fewer than 20,000 soldiers left, and we still have to fend off the undead's assault tonight. If we rashly lead a team out to the rescue now, Silver City could very well fall. Hearing this, Rock quickly cupped his hands. Rock, guard captain of Nightfall Town, requesting an audience. There was a moment of silence inside. Then that woman's voice rang out again. Come in. Rock pushed the door open and entered, with me, Sun Yuerong, and Qin Sanjin following close behind. The moment we stepped into the courtyard, everyone around turned to stare in surprise. This courtyard was very plain, much like the estates of Great Qin's landlords, only with a more Western style. These people's features were different from ours too, their hair and eyes in all sorts of colors. Especially that woman in white armor. Golden hair, blue eyes, tall and statuesque, curvy in all the right places, the kind of woman who'd stir up a conquering urge in any man who laid eyes on her. She swept a glance over us and barked at Rock. Captain Rock, you're supposed to be guarding Nightfall Town. What are you doing barging into Silver City without permission? Reporting to Deputy Commander Ima. Rock dropped to one knee. Grand Sorceress Amanli is dead. The undead of the Silver Pine Forest have all been wiped out, and we've retaken Silver Moon Lake. What? How is that possible? This is utter nonsense. Captain Rock, could it be you fled the battle? The knight captains around, long swords at their waists and violence written all over them. Not a single one of them believed it. Ima's face was full of disbelief too, but she still said in a low, grave voice, Captain Rock, you should know all too well, in a situation like this, what the consequences are for reporting false military intelligence. Of course, Rock nodded solemnly, then looked over at me. I saw it with my own eyes. Sorcerer Qin Yong here annihilated every last undead at Silver Moon Lake. There's not a word of falsehood in it. Everyone turned to look at me with suspicion, and Deputy Commander Ima sized me up curiously as well. The Eternal Kingdom had sorcerers too, but absolutely none capable of killing Amanli, let alone the more than 10,000 undead at Silver Moon Lake, whose strength rivaled a knight order of tens of thousands. A burly, muscular man said gravely, Deputy Commander Ima, in my opinion this is utterly impossible. We should send someone to Nightfall Town to check at once. Exactly, a red-haired man chimed in. If you ask me, Nightfall Town has most likely fallen. We should lock Rock and these people up first. The others all offered similar advice, none of them believing a word. Ima didn't make a rash decision. Her beautiful eyes simply turned toward me. Sorcerer friend, I wonder if you might be able to. I can't. I cut her off directly. You just need to take me to see the Silver Knight Commander, and I'll give you the answer to every question you want to ask. How could I not know? This blonde bombshell wanted me to prove my strength. But to me, these were just NPCs. My class change quest was to find the Silver Knight Commander. I had no interest whatsoever in playing along with their whole, prove your innocence, slap him with a flex routine. Ima furrowed her lovely brows. Commander Reki is trapped in Sohei City. There are a million undead ghouls there. Sohei City? My eyebrows lifted, and I looked at Rock. You know where Sohei City is? I do. Rock nodded reflexively. Good, then lead the way. I turned and headed for the door. Rock was a little bewildered, and Ima was even more baffled. She never expected this guy to be so rude. She was a deputy commander, after all. Couldn't he show her a little respect? Halt. Shing. Several knight captains drew their long swords and closed in. What do you all think you're doing? Qin Sanjin whipped out his great sword and planted himself in front. Sun Yuerong activated her eagle eye aura too, snatching out her purple longbow. I turned my head back calmly. At that moment, except for Rock, everyone else's names had turned yellow, and their HP bars were now showing. All level 20-something knights, with even thinner HP than Qin Sanjin. Only that blonde bombshell was a bit better, but she was just a level 30 elite with a couple 100,000 HP. No wonder they were utterly powerless against the undead army. No matter how many of these cannon fodder types you piled up, it was useless. No. Rock hurried to step forward in fright. My lords, please don't act rashly. They mean no harm. He knew all too well just how much weight these three carried, especially me. Someone who could summon 1,000 troops with a wave of the hand. Is that so? I swept a cold glance over the crowd. If you mean no harm, Then don't go pulling swords out for no reason. Otherwise, you won't even know how you died. Several of the knight captains flushed dark with rage and looked ready to charge forward again. Enough. Ima barked out a cold command, then looked at me calmly. Sorcerer friend, if I take you to Sohei City, can you truly rescue our commander? Having witnessed Qin Sanjin and Sun Yuerong's strength, and with Rock's words on top of that, she now believed it to some degree. More importantly, she genuinely had no way to save him herself. If they dragged this out any longer and something happened to the commander, the several million people of Silver City would all be doomed. It's not a question of can, it's that he must be rescued, I said with a confident smile. At the very least, until I've seen him with my own eyes, I won't allow anyone to kill him. Are you kidding? If the NPC dies, how am I supposed to finish my class change quest? Everyone present drew a sharp breath, especially the few knight captains who'd been to Sohei City. If Silver Moon Lake was terrifying, then Sohei City was simply the stuff of despair. One look from afar was enough to snuff out any thought of resistance. Fine, I'll personally take you there. The blonde bombshell nodded decisively. Immediately, a follow-up quest popped up before my eyes. Nation's Fortune Quest, second stage triggered, the rise and fall of the Eternal Kingdom. Rescue the Silver Knight Commander and cleanse Sohei City of the Undead Army. Personal rewards, 500,000 experience, 1 level, 40 epic, orange. Item for your class, 100 fortune contribution points. National reward, 100 imperial fortune points. The rewards had multiplied. 500,000 experience, a level, 40 orange item, which would fetch tens of millions if you sold it, plus those 100 fortune contribution points, which were priceless things capable of upgrading talents and defying fate itself. Seeing these rewards, the look in Sun Yuerong's eyes practically dripped with longing. Qin Sanjin, that big oaf, on the other hand, was still glaring hard at the blonde bombshell, clearly holding a grudge over how she disrespected me earlier and not even really wanting to take the quest. All right, I nodded calmly. We were going to make the trip anyway. Why on earth would I turn down free rewards? Thank you. Ima's lovely face lit up with delight. She turned and issued orders to the captains. From this moment on, Silver City is sealed. Without an order from me or the commander, no one is to open the city gates. Deputy Commander Ima? Several captains' faces changed drastically. That's Sohei City we're talking about. Do you really trust them? Shut it. The blonde bombshell's face darkened. Carry out the order, or face military punishment. The captains had no choice but to nod. Only then did Ima take up her sword and turn to me with a smile. Sorcerer, sir, after you. The Plague Plains were the largest plains in the eastern part of the Eternal Kingdom, with Sohei City sitting right at their center. A journey of several days on horseback, at least. Luckily, Silver City had a mount called a lion horse, fast enough to rival a car, so it didn't take much effort before we reached the plains. But the moment we set foot on the plains, the atmosphere instantly turned cold and grim, and the sky shifted to a blood-red gray. Ima quickly asked, Sir Chinyong, besides undead soldiers, Sohei City also has a great many civilian ghouls. How do we plan to save the people? We charge straight in and kill our way through, I answered calmly. The blonde bombshell was dumbstruck on the spot. Sohei City had originally held nearly 1 million people, and with the undead soldiers on top of that, there were only 5 of us. How were we supposed to just charge straight in? Rock quickly cleared his throat a few times. Deputy Commander Ima, just trust the sorcerer, my lord. The blonde bombshell was nearly beside herself with frustration. She'd agreed to lead the way thinking they'd brought along a whole troop of experts, only to find it was just 3 people, led by a thug of a sorcerer. Several times she'd wanted to turn back, but then she'd think of the Night Order's pillar of strength trapped in the undead's nest and grow frantic all over again. Roar! Just then, an ear-splitting shriek rang out, and several ghouls came staggering out of the gray mist. The Plague Plains held nearly 1 million ghouls, disturbed just a few, and countless more would come swarming. Thug sorcerer. The blonde bombshell hadn't even finished her sentence. Shing! I raised a hand, and over 100 skeleton sorcerers burst up out of the ground. Boom, boom, boom. A sky full of fireballs blasted out all at once, and those few ghouls were reduced to charcoal in the blink of an eye. The blonde bombshell swallowed hard, hardly able to believe it. She'd seen dark sorcerers before, but even the Eternal Capital's realm-protecting Grand Sorcerer, after being corrupted by dark magic, could never have grown this powerful, summoning over 100 creatures with a single wave of the hand. Big Miss Ima, what was it you were about to say? Ima flushed red with anger, and could only stiffly retort, I was going to remind you, sir, that the wind is strong on the plains. Don't catch a cold. Now that you mention it, it really is a bit chilly. I nodded, then turned to Sun Yuero. Commander Sun, give my skeleton brothers a little firepower boost. Oh, Sun Yuerong replied, activating her eagle-eye aura. In an instant, every skeleton sorcerer transformed into a long-range Gatling gun. Bang, bang, bang. A sky full of fireballs poured down, blanketing a 3-kilometer radius all at once, burning the very sky clear. Never mind the ghouls, plenty of which simply vanished without a trace. This. Ima was so stunned by the sight, she couldn't even get her words out. Rock beside her kept shaking his head. He hadn't fared any better himself back then. To them, my methods were simply on par with the heavenly gods. And so, under the cover of that terrifying firepower, we had smooth sailing the whole way, quickly arriving at the foot of Sohei City. Sohei City had once been one of the Eternal Kingdom's most prosperous capitals and the earliest headquarters of the Silver Knight Order. But it just so happened to be among the first batch of cities swallowed by the calamity. Back then, people knew nothing about the undead calamity, and by the time they reacted, the nearly 1 million people of the entire city had already turned into undead. Among them weren't just the tens of thousands of the Silver Knight Order's army, but also the Knight Order's leader of the time, the old king's most beloved youngest son. So beyond the civilian ghouls wandering the streets, this city was also home to tens of thousands of undead knights, plus a group of undead witches who descended along with the calamity. Today's Sohei City was a living hell. Just standing at the city gate, I could feel that aura of death rushing at me. Good thing I now had a mana shield of 6.95 million and 280 skeleton bodyguards trailing behind me. Otherwise, with this squishy level 20 body of mine, I really wouldn't dare venture inside. Big Miss Ima. Sir Chinyong, my name is Ima. The blonde bombshell's lovely face darkened as she hurried to correct me. Close enough. I waved a hand. Where's your commander right now? You dirty thug. Ima let out a low grunt, but still explained, that Archmage, a Moth, loves to use living people for experiments. Commander Reki is most likely in the civilian district right now, rescuing people. All right, lead the way. Let's fish your commander out first. Finding Reki to turn in the quest was the real priority, and I could save a few live people while I was at it. Sohei City was divided into a civilian district, a wealthy district, a commercial district, and a military district. Those undead knights and the Calamity Army were mostly holed up in the military district, while the ones wandering the streets were all ordinary ghouls. These ghouls were about on par with the trash mobs in a dungeon. Even an ordinary profession team could steamroll them. So we had smooth sailing the whole way, and soon crept up to the civilian district. But just as we reached the entrance of the civilian district, Ima suddenly stopped in her tracks. Sir Chinyong, it looks like Commander Reki has been surrounded by Sohei City's undead knights. I nudged my lion horse forward a few steps and saw several dozen armored cavalrymen ringed neatly around the plaza. These fellows were all clad in black armor, mounted on skeletal warhorses, radiating a thick aura of death from head to toe. Their stats were terrifyingly high too, especially the white-armored knight leading them. It was actually a Death Knight boss, with a full 10.48 million HP, and all 4 of its core stats broke past 1,300. My god, this thing is way too strong. Sun Yuerong and Qin Sanjin were struck dumb on the spot. With that HP and those stats, an ordinary legion would lose a whole row of people just from a single encounter. And this was only the lesser boss out front. So what kind of monster was that Archmage Moth waiting further in? Ima's expression was grave as she explained. He was once a deputy commander of the Silver Knight Order, one of Prince Devon's 4 riders. Even in life, he had slain a subdrag. Before she could finish, over 100 fireballs had already shot out from above my head. Bang, bang, bang. This mighty Death Knight, one of the 4 riders, didn't even manage a single reaction before he keeled over stiff, horse and all. The pack of cavalry underlings around him were sent off too, caught in the splash of the fireballs. Amma was dumbstruck on the spot. This Death Knight, whom the Silver Knight Order had campaigned against for over a decade without so much as scratching its hide, had died in my hands without so much as a blink. Was this really a dark sorcerer? This was clearly a dark war god. Only then did I turn my head back, looking at her with a half-smile. Deputy Commander Big Miss Ima, what was it you said he'd slain in life? Ha ha ha. Yima quickly forced an awkward smile onto her face. What I meant to say is, Lord Qinyong, you are so mighty and powerful. Forget this Devon. No, even a Moth would be no match for you at all. Is that so? I raised an eyebrow. Then why did I just hear someone call me a thug? No, absolutely not. Yima denied it flatly. Then from now on, I'll call you Big Boobs E. Yima went ahead and renamed herself. I'm the Big Boobs E, Deputy Commander of the Silver Knights. Very good. The name suits you perfectly. Thank you for the compliment, my lord. Lead the way. Take me to your commander. Yes, handsome Lord Qinyong. Yima immediately swung her hips and eagerly took the lead. Rock followed behind, shaking his head the whole way. Never in his wildest dreams could he have imagined that this deputy commander, who normally bowed to no one, had been tamed by me in just a few moves. Qin Sanjin didn't have the mind for anything else either. He shot off in a flash to loot corpses. These bosses might have thick health bars, but under the firepower of my 140 skeleton mages, as long as they had less than 140 million health, they were all doomed to be one-shot killed. Soon, with Yima leading the way, we arrived at a church in the civilian district. The moment I stepped through the door, I saw the inside packed with dark mages. In the center of the crowd, a middle-aged man with a resolute face and golden hair was fiercely shielding more than a dozen ordinary civilians behind him. He held a heavy shield in one hand and a war hammer in the other. His silver armor was in tatters, and blood streamed down from his knee guards, pooling into a small puddle on the ground. Yet there wasn't the slightest trace of fear on his face. This man's name appeared yellow in my eyes. With a flick of thought, his attribute panel popped up. Ricky, the Holy Light Envoy. Level 45 Paladin. Health, 9.88 million. All 4 core stats approaching 3,000. The first Paladin of the Eternal Kingdom, founder of the Silver Knights, and teacher of Prince Devon. Holy crap, I was completely stunned by these stats. No wonder he dared to charge into Sohei City alone to rescue people. Turns out he was a major boss himself. And now I finally understood how the Silver City, beaten to such a wretched state, could still hold out against the undead army. Paladins were the natural enemy of the undead to begin with, and paired with such monstrous stats, probably only an undead leader tier being could barely stand a chance against him. Just as I was marveling, the lead dark mage suddenly spoke up angrily. Brother-in-law, why won't you submit to National Preceptor Sun? He can truly grant the Eternal Kingdom immortality forever. Huh, I frowned. What kind of script was this? Yima looked embarrassed and quickly leaned over to explain the whole story to me. It turned out that this Ricky was the first paladin of the Eternal Kingdom and the founder of the Silver Knights. To reward him, the old king had married his most beautiful princess to him and entrusted him with guarding the entire kingdom. But once the old king died, the new king was bewitched by the Grand National Preceptor Sun, who issued a decree dismissing Ricky and forcibly handed the knights over to his own son. Later, that National Preceptor Sun used immortality as bait to drag the entire royal family down with him. In the end, they set up an evil formation in the royal capital, paying the price of 1 million human lives to forcibly tear open a massive rift and lead in the undead catastrophe. And this sister-in-law standing before Ricky was one of the most fanatical members of the royal family back then. To transform the undead more perfectly, she even sacrificed the people around her, her husband, her children, her friends, not one spared, all offered up to become undead. Because Ricky was the strongest paladin in the entire nation, she had long coveted turning this brother-in-law of hers into the strongest death knight as well. Impressive, really. I sighed with genuine feeling. It seemed the saying, "No venom is more poisonous than a woman's heart," wasn't unique to our world after all. With a flick of thought, I pulled up this woman's attributes. Undead Mage Princess Lillian. Level 35. Health, 10.08 million. Mana, an astonishing 8.25 million. Spirit, 1,757 points. Chief Mage of the Frost Tower, younger sister of the Eternal King. Even I was a little surprised to see these stats. No wonder these people were scrambling to transform into undead. Turns out you could just pick up this many stats for free. But just as I was pondering, Sun Yuerong suddenly cried out in alarm. Yongshin, look out! Baffled, I turned my head and saw an ice arrow flying straight toward me. Princess Lillian and her gang of dark mage underlings were all glaring at me with grim faces. Yima, dodge, quick! Ricky's expression changed dramatically, and he hurriedly began casting a holy light spell. Unfortunately, he was half a beat too slow. Thwack! The ice arrow slammed squarely into me. Immediately, two big white words appeared above my head. -0. That's right. It looked intimidating, but in reality, it did absolutely no damage. The reason was simple. Right now, I had not only a mana shield of 6.95 million, but also 695,000 magic defense. You could say that unless it was true damage or came with level suppression, no spellcaster class below level 100 could even dream of breaking through this shield of mine. Sun Yuerong was stunned dumb on the spot. She could see the attribute panel and knew all too well how monstrous Lillian was. 1,757 spirit. Calculated by a professional's damage coefficient, a single ice arrow would deal at least 5 or 6,000 damage, and layering on equipment, passives, and talents, 20,000 damage wouldn't be surprising. And yet it hit me for a big fat 0? What the hell kind of defense was that? Yima and Rock were a bit dazed too. They knew the skeletons I summoned were fierce, but they never expected I myself could take a hit so well. After all, summoners and mages had always been the fragile, low-health, squishy classes. Ricky's eyes went even wider. Although he couldn't see the exact damage, he knew all too well how heavy a hitter Lillian was, the chief mage of the Frost Tower, who after transforming into an undead had only grown stronger. And yet I'd tanked one of her ice arrows without so much as a furrowed brow. Damn it, Princess Lillian was furious too. Her magic, the magic of a proud chief mage, had been blocked cold by a lowly human ant. It was like having her face ground into the dirt. But I was even angrier than she was. I, a squishy level 20 character, had just gotten an arrow to the face. Sure, nothing happened this time. But what if something had? What if one day I really did get ambushed and killed? Then wouldn't this whole trip have been for nothing? You filthy bitch, taste this. I stomped my foot in fury, and the entire ground shook along with it. Crack! The floor beneath Princess Lillian's feet suddenly split open, and a colossal ivory bone spike, like a pillar propping up the sky, shot straight up from beneath her. Squelch! Under everyone's horrified gaze, Princess Lillian didn't even have time to react before she was impaled straight through. Both Sun Yuerong and Yima instinctively clamped their legs together, and even Ricky's expression shifted slightly. After all, that was his own sister-in-law, and watching her get skewered like that left him feeling somewhat uneasy. Ah! Princess Lillian shrieked with a face twisted in rage. What are you all just standing there for? Kill this damned ant for me. But the words had barely left her mouth. Before her mage underlings could even make a move, countless white bones erupted all around me, and in the blink of an eye they'd skewered every last one of them clean through. Then the bone spikes spread outward wildly with me at the center, covering an area of nearly 3.5 kilometers. Every building collapsed with a thunderous crash, and every undead creature was hoisted high into the air. The sky filled with white damage numbers, paired with a screen full of refreshing green experience points. Sun Yuerong was once again stunned into a daze by my combat power. Rock, Yima, Ricky, and the surviving civilians were all so terrified by the scene that their souls nearly left their bodies. Especially Princess Lillian. Her face was written all over with horror. Her health was thick, so being hoisted in the air wouldn't kill her right away, but several white bones had her body pinned down so firmly she couldn't even move, let alone cast a spell. Who exactly are you? How dare you oppose the Great Rift's Catastrophe Legion? You cheap whore, go die. Qin Sanjin came sprinting in from outside just then, swinging his purple greatsword and, without the slightest hesitation, smashing it right into Lillian's face. That once passable pretty face was instantly beaten to a bloody pulp. What a joke. How dare she hurt his daddy young. Watching this, Ricky felt a twinge of pity and was about to say a few words to intervene. But I walked straight over instead, pulling out that earring of Mina's from my backpack. You're Commander Ricky, right? Do you recognize this? Mina's earring. Ricky's pupils suddenly contracted, his face filled with horror. Where did you get this? I sighed, and had no choice but to tell him everything I knew, exactly as it was. A oath. Ricky lowered his head, grinding his teeth, both hands clutching that earring for dear life as tears silently struck the ground. He'd known long ago that his homeland had fallen, but hearing confirmation of his daughter's death with his own ears still nearly broke him. Especially when he heard she'd died at Amod's hands. He almost completely lost control. Because that Amod loved nothing more than experimenting on living people, and he specifically targeted boys and girls under the age of 15. Everyone who fell into his hands ended up as a patch of flesh on some stitched-together abomination. He truly couldn't bear to imagine what Mina looked like right now. He wanted nothing more than to storm Amod's castle that instant, kill that demon, and take his daughter back. But he was the commander of the Silver Knights, bearing the mission of protecting the survivors on his shoulders. He absolutely could not recklessly risk everything for a personal grudge. Honorable Lord Mage. Ricky suddenly dropped to one knee and looked up at me. I, Ricky Tedeville, beg you as a father. Please help me find Mina. World Class Change Quest, the Silver Knight Commander's Tears completed. Obtained, level 20 Ancient Staff. Follow-up quest, Mina's Soul, triggered. Find and kill the Grand Sorcerer Amoth, and reclaim Mina's soul. Reward, World Class Change Card, unique. Before I could even accept the quest, Princess Lillian, pinned in the air, suddenly burst into wild laughter. Ha ha, Tedeville, you'll never find Mina. She left Sohei City long ago. What did you say? Ricky's face filled with horror. Princess Lillian laughed with a sickly expression. Amoth performs his living experiments to find the perfect contract vessel for the National Preceptor, and Mina just happened to be a perfect fit. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Ricky completely lost control. Mina is just a child. She doesn't know any spells at all. How could she possibly become a contract vessel? She may not know spells. Princess Lillian giggled eerily. But your blood runs in her veins. Tainted holy light blood. That's the finest material for refining the perfect undead contract vessel. Brother-in-law, join us. Your sister and Mina are both waiting for you at the royal capital. You. Ricky's eyes were bloodshot, so furious he couldn't speak. Ugh, so much damn babbling. I stomped my foot with a dark face, and another bone spike drilled up from the ground, running straight through her mouth. Sanjin, slice her up slowly, one cut at a time. Don't kill her too fast. You got it, Daddy Yong. Qin Sanjin excitedly put away his greatsword and pulled out a small skinning knife from inside his shirt. Commander's son, if she dares run her mouth again, put an arrow right through it. Got it. Sun Yuerong pulled out her purple bow as well. The white bone spike prison didn't do much damage, but it could hardlock a target for more than 10 minutes. Just enough time for Qin Sanjin to slowly torture her. MMPH, MMPH, MMPH. Princess Lillian glared at me viciously, threatening in a muffled voice. You lowly mortal, my husband will never let you off. TCH. I rolled my eyes and turned to look at Ricky. Don't worry. Not only will I help you reclaim Mina, I'll also help you wipe out every last one of the undead catastrophe. Truly, Ricky's eyes lit up. He immediately pressed a fist to his chest and bowed deeply. I, Ricky Tedeville, on behalf of the billions of common folk of the Eternal Kingdom, thank you, my lord. Your benevolence is as high as the heavens. In an instant, a string of quests popped up. Accepted World Class Change Quest, Mina's Soul. Kill Amoth and reclaim Mina's soul. Reward, World Class Change Card, unique. Accepted Epic Quest, A Father's Hope. Recover Mina's body. Reward, an orange skill book for your class die. Accepted National Fortune Quest, The Battle of Sohei City. Kill Amoth, kill Prince Devon, and reclaim Sohei City. Personal rewards, 500,000 experience, level 40 orange class-specific equipment, 100 fortune contribution points. National reward, 100 points of Imperial Fortune die. 3 quests, every single one at epic difficulty or higher. Anyone else would probably go weak in the knees just looking at them. But I was grinning from ear to ear. In my eyes, these were clearly free handouts, especially that orange skill book, which had me practically drooling. All right, get up. I helped Ricky to his feet and had him go gather up the survivors in the civilian district first and get them out of the city. I was about to clear out the entire Sohei city, and while I wouldn't hit them by accident, I couldn't guarantee those undead wouldn't hurt them. While I had a moment, I quickly opened my backpack, wanting to take a look at that ancient staff I'd just gotten. But the instant I opened it, my eyes were nearly blinded by the red glow inside. You see, different equipment tiers came with different numbers of bonus attributes. Green and blue gear had 0 to 1, purple had 1 to 2, orange had 2 to 3, red had 5, and gold had a full 8. The Lich's Oath. Ancient tier staff. Level 20. 4 undead summoners only. All 4 core stats comparable to level 60 equipment. 5 bonus attributes. Doubles summoned creatures' health and mana. Doubles summoned creatures' physical and magic defense. Increases all summoned creatures' speed by 10%. Increases summoned creatures' damage by 20%. And grants summoned creatures a 5% chance to deal a 1.5x critical hit when attacking it. Holy crap, I was stunned by these off-the-charts stats. Never mind the core stats equivalent to level 60 gear, just those 5 bonuses below were like having half a cheat code activated. For an ordinary undead summoner, gripping this staff, even the most basic little skeleton could be used as a tank. Too bad ordinary people would never get to touch this kind of divine artifact in their whole lives. But just as I was marveling, the sky suddenly darkened, followed by an earth-shaking, furious roar. Damn it! Who killed my wife? I gave a slight pause, and a line of green text just happened to drift past my eyes. Killed level 35 undead mage Princess Lillian. Gained 392,380 experienced. Played her to death. Qin Sanjin scratched the back of his head, smiling bashfully. The Princess Lillian in front of him had already been skinned down to nothing but a skeleton. You really did slice her into strips, huh? I couldn't help but give him a thumbs up. Badass. Sun Yuerong stood off to the side, the corner of her mouth twitching. Just then, Ricky walked over with a worried look. Lord Qinyong, now that Princess Lillian is dead, Prince Devon's knights are sure to come out in full force. Oh, I raised an eyebrow and gave a faint smile. Sanjin, grab these few heads. We're going over to Prince Devon's place to crash his party. You got it, Daddy Yong. With Lillian dead, the entire Sohei city instantly descended into chaos. All the zombies acted as if they'd been provoked, wandering aimlessly all over the city. These things didn't have high attack power, but there was no dealing with their sheer numbers. Nearly 1 million of them crammed into the streets, a black, teeming mass, more crowded than a train station during the New Year rush. Even a mighty paladin like Ricky felt his scalp tingle at the sight, let alone Yima and Rock, whose faces had long since gone pale and grim. They simply couldn't imagine what would happen if this many zombies flooded into the Silver City. Me, though, I was thrilled beyond belief. My eyes had gone completely bloodshot with battle lust. Ha ha, kill, kill, kill. White Bone Spike Prison. White Bone Spike Prison. Ah yeah, this feels so good, so good. Sanjin, hurry up and sweep the floor. Damn it, there's blue light dropping over there again. Coming, Daddy Yong. Commander's son, keep the aura up, don't stop the aura. If you dare stop it on me, Big Bro's gonna. Boo-hoo, I'm keeping it up. Riding on my lion horse, I fired off skills left and right while shouting commands at the top of my lungs. Sun Yuerong and Qin Sanjin, meanwhile, ran madly all over the city, pouncing on every corpse the moment they saw blue or purple light. Normally when grinding dungeons, if a monster dropped anything decent, those two could be happy about it half the day. White gear could sell for a bit of cash, and good green gear could even fetch over $1,000. But right now, they genuinely didn't want to see any more monsters dropping loot. In just this short span of time, they'd already picked up several dozen pieces of blue gear alone. Thankfully, the system backpack had unlimited space and didn't count weight, and I didn't want any of that white or green junk anyway. Otherwise, these two would have been worked to death right there. The experience, though, felt amazing. The green glow above their heads never stopped. In less than half an hour, Sun Yuerong had leveled up to 26. Keep in mind, Hitting level 26 required over 700,000 experience, and killing a single monster only gave her a dozen odd points. In other words, in just this little while, they'd already taken down over 70,000 zombies. After playing this fiercely with me, Sun Yuerong couldn't help but wonder, after going home, would she ever be able to stand that useless old man again? Right in the middle of the slaughter, the ground beneath our feet suddenly trembled, followed by the sound of orderly, thundering hoofbeats. Rah-rah! The zombies filling the streets all froze in unison, then, as if driven mad, scrambled into the houses on either side. Almost in the blink of an eye, the 100-meter-wide street was swept clean, leaving only charred corpses scattered everywhere and the constantly trembling bluestone pavement. Commander Ricky urged his horse forward and stood shoulder to shoulder with me. Prince Devon's undead knights are here. I raised an eyebrow and looked toward the far end of the street. From that direction, a giant more than 10 meters tall soon emerged, easily 4 stories high. An ordinary person standing at its feet would look just like a mouse. This giant was covered in blood, its skin a patchwork of colors, clearly stitched together from countless pieces of corpses. Several heads dangled from its shoulders, thick iron chains were wrapped around its body, and it dragged a massive cleaver more than 10 meters long in its hand. Every step it took shook the ground, crushing the bluestone slabs to powder. Stitched Giant. Level 35. Health, 15.75 million. A terrifying monster Amoth created from the corpses of countless children. So strong. Qin Sanjin and Sun Yuerong were stunned once again. Over 15 million health. That was no health total a level 35 monster should have. At its feet trailed dozens of miniature stitched abominations, each with over 1 million health as well. Beside it was a dense black mass of undead knights and catastrophe warriors, led by 2 death knights with 10 million health each. 3 10 million health bosses, several 100 million health elites, plus tens of thousands of undead rabble. And even these small fry had over 200,000 health each. Facing such a terrifying lineup, forget these guys. Even Great Qin's top-tier 10,000-man legion would feel their scalps go numb. Lord Chunyong. Ricky swallowed hard and couldn't help but speak up. How about we pull out of Sohei City first and wait for the reinforcements from the Silver City? No need. My face darkened, and I cut him off viciously. These monsters are all big bros. Anyone who dares to butt in, big bro will lay them out flat. Ricky was dumbstruck on the spot. Yima and Rock scratched their heads in confusion, wondering if they'd heard wrong. He was planning to clear out all of Devon's and Amoth's underlings by himself. Hearing this, Qin Sanjin immediately retreated obediently. He didn't dare doubt the truth of my words for even a second. Cutting off someone's fortune is like killing their parents, and stealing someone's experience is like sleeping with their wife. He was genuinely afraid Daddy Yong would deal with him. Sun Yuerong was even more frightened, her delicate frame trembling. She truly was a little scared of me. Just then, a Death Knight walked out from the opposing side, glaring with 2 ghostly blue eyes, and shouted at Ricky, "Commander Ricky, our Prince Devon." Before he could finish, a sky-darkening barrage of fireballs had already flown out. The dungeon's storyline didn't get a chance to unfold at all. The skeleton soldiers behind me all swung their great swords and charged forward with roaring battle cries. I couldn't be bothered to waste words either, and directly unleashed the one and only move I knew. White Bone Spike Prison. A world-shaking great battle erupted in an instant. But this could hardly be called a battle. It was clearly my skeleton bodyguards carrying out a one-sided massacre. The sky full of white damage numbers instantly plastered over Qin Sanjin's and Sun Yuerong's field of vision, and even the zombies that had hidden inside the houses couldn't escape. Especially after I switched to the ancient staff, my damage climbed even higher. Those 2 underlings of Devon's hadn't even reacted before corpses were already piling up all around them. "You son of a bitch, Ricky. Your Silver Knights have no honor at all. Killed Death Knight by Rampu. Killed Death Knight Tedding. Killed the Stitch Giant." Those 3 10 million health old monsters. Nightmarish existences to Qin Sanjin and Sun Yuerong, and utterly insurmountable chasms in the eyes of Yima, Rock, and the Silver Knights, ended up collapsing stiff before everyone's eyes without ever getting a chance to strike. Simply put, I'd been targeting them from the very start. They just had thick enough health to hold out those few extra seconds. Ricky scratched his head, looking utterly wronged. This was done by Lord Qinyang's forces. It really has nothing to do with us Silver Knights. Inside the great hall of the military fortress in Sohei City, beside a round table sat a middle-aged man with a deathly pale face. He held a red wine goblet, swirling it gently, except what filled the cup was no fine wine. Across from him, a man in black robes was hunched over, gnawing on a bloody child's arm. Prince Devon, don't be angry. Humph. The young man gave a cold snort. If I hadn't listened to you and gone to try and make her surrender, would Lillian have died at Ricky's hands? I'm going to kill that bastard Ricky no matter what. Amoth, gnawing on the arm, gave a sigh. Prince Devon, are you really in such a rush to kill Ricky and wipe out the Silver City? That's right, Prince Devon said flatly. Amoth choked and coughed a few times. Then why have the king and national preceptor's son kept forbidding you from making your move? Why? Prince Devon looked completely blank. He wasn't good at using his head to begin with, and after becoming undead, he had even less of a brain. All day long, aside from eating human flesh, all he pondered was how to kill a few more people. Amoth explained unhurriedly. Because Ricky can help us refine the perfect contract vessel, allowing us to truly transform into the undead race. The undead race. Prince Devon lifted his head in surprise. Right now his eye sockets were sunken, his cheekbones protruding, his nose bridge collapsed, the very picture of a black skeleton. Amoth wasn't much better either. There wasn't a shred of muscle on his ashen gray face, and he looked deeply unsettling. The way the two of them looked now, they could at most be considered undead, nowhere near qualifying as the undead race. Because the undead race was a true race. Apart from having undying bodies and being unable to reproduce, they were no different from any other race. They had the full range of emotions, all 5 senses and 6 perceptions intact. They were neither rotting corpses nor mindless monsters. Things like skeleton soldiers, zombies, stitched abominations, and ghouls could only be called undead. Amoth elegantly set down his goblet. Legend has it that the undead race was the tainted light race. To perfectly transform into the undead race, one needs tainted holy light blood. If we assault the Silver City by force, Ricky is certain to resist to the death, and then we'd have no choice but to find holy light blood elsewhere. This, Prince Devon couldn't help but ask. How is the undead race any different from what we are now? Ha! Amoth burst out laughing. The bodies of the undead race are just like the human races. They can secrete bodily fluids, they have the sense of touch, and their muscles are even springy. Are you serious? Prince Devon's eyes instantly flashed with blue light. Of course. Amoth nodded. And as long as our souls aren't destroyed, we can all resurrect through a contract vessel. Prince Devon sucked in a sharp breath, growing excited. Then Lillian can be resurrected too? Amoth nodded with a smile. Of course. As long as we have a perfect contract vessel, she can be resurrected anytime. Wonderful. Prince Devon hurriedly pressed on. Then doesn't that mean, with more contract vessels, we could resurrect more Lillians? Amoth was startled for a moment, then broke into a wicked grin. Prince Devon, only you could think of that. The two skullheads exchanged a glance and laughed together, sinister and eerie. Just then, a cold snort suddenly came from outside. Don't worry, you won't get the chance. Who? Prince Devon jerked his head up, and the Death Knight beside him drew his weapon and held it out in front. Only Amoth stayed unhurried, holding his goblet and looking toward the doorway with keen interest. More than a dozen Silver Knights charged in first, followed closely by Ricky, Yima, and the others. Finally, I strolled into the great hall unhurriedly, bringing Qin Sanjin and Sun Yurong along. Ricky, Prince Devon's face was full of surprise. How did you get in? Where are Bairampu and Tedong? Ricky gave a cold smile. Qin Sanjin simply tossed out a black cloth bundle. Thud, thud, 4 round heads rolled out from inside. None other than the heads of Lillian and the 3 Death Knights. Though the undead had undying bodies, that didn't mean they truly couldn't be killed. Ah, the singing girls and dancers in the hall screamed and scattered in terror. Even Amoth and Prince Devon couldn't help but have their pupils contract. Forget the 3 Death Knights. Even that stitched giant wasn't something you could kill easily. not to mention the tens of thousands of undead knights and countless zombies outside. Even if the entire Silver Knights had come out in full force, there was no way they could have cleared it all in this little bit of time. Ricky, what exactly did you do? Ricky shrugged helplessly, wearing an expression that said it had nothing to do with him, and turned his gaze toward me. You are. Prince Devon instinctively looked at me. But just as he was about to open his mouth, I had already given a light wave of my hand. Boom, 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 boom. More than a dozen giant fireballs streaked over everyone's heads and, under everyone's stunned gaze, slammed squarely into Prince Devon. A string of white damage numbers popped up one after another, and his full 20 million health bar bottomed out in the blink of an eye. Killed level 38 Death Knight Prince Devon. Gained 711,830 experience. Thud. Prince Devon toppled stiffly to the ground. His black armor was completely shattered, the last of his muscle burned to charcoal, and even the pure silver crown on his head was blasted down to nothing but a black ring. Dead silence filled the room. Even Ricky's eye twitched, let alone those Silver Knights who'd only just arrived. They hadn't witnessed with their own eyes how I'd wreaked havoc across the city, so they simply couldn't comprehend how this absurdly powerful Prince Devon could just drop dead the moment he was hit. Of course, the most shocked of all was Amoth. He couldn't for the life of him believe that Prince Devon had just fallen over asleep because he was too young. What are you all just standing there for? Cut down this boy. Only then did the prince's guards beside him snap out of it. Clang. They drew their swords and rushed forward. Clatter. Dozens of skeleton soldiers instantly sprang up behind me. Killed the prince's elite guard. Killed the prince's elite guard. Killed Death Knight, Mason Da. More than a dozen elite guards, plus Mason, one of the prince's 4 horsemen, were all laid out on the ground in practically the blink of an eye. Seeing this scene, even a major boss like Amoth panicked. Who exactly are you? I still ignored him, only giving a light stomp of my foot. Crack. The floor beneath Amoth's feet suddenly split open, and a bone spike as thick as an ivory tusk instantly shot up from the ground toward the sky. Amoth was pinned firmly in place by that soaring bone spike, and only then did I unhurriedly pull up his attribute panel for a closer look. Undead Sorcerer Amoth. Level 40. Health, 25.77 million. Mana, nearly 30 million. Spirit, 2,195 points. A low-ranking member of the Great Rift's Dark Council, skilled in dark undead magic. In life, he was once the king of a certain kingdom. This health total was indeed terrifying. Any other professional would probably go weak in the knees just at a glance. Look at Sun Yuerong and Qin Sanjin. They were already dumbstruck. Fortunately, this world's secret realm could admit unlimited people, so if I really wanted to, I could organize 100 million people to massacre the city. Otherwise, a boss of this caliber was simply something no team could chew through. Amoth also instantly sensed something was wrong and hurriedly spoke up. You're professionals from another world? I raised an eyebrow. Qin Sanjin and Sun Yuerong were both taken aback too. Their identity had just been exposed with a single sentence. The 3 of us instinctively turned to look at Ricky and the others. But the strange thing was, Ricky's group seemed not to have heard a thing at all. They all just stood there stiffly in place. Sigh. So you really are. Amoth gave a sigh and explained calmly. This is called dimensional isolation. As long as any topic related to professionals comes up, it gets directly filtered out by the system. The locals simply can't hear it. My interest was piqued. How do you know all this so clearly? Amoth gave a self-deprecating smile. Because I used to be a professional myself. That one line stunned all 3 of us. Who could have imagined that this grand sorcerer before us had actually started out as a professional too? And he wasn't from Great Qin, which meant, besides Great Qin, there were other worlds sending people into these secret realms as well. Let me guess. I stroked my chin. You're wasting all this breath because you want me to spare you, right? Yes. Amoth nodded repeatedly, gazing at me anxiously. As long as you're willing to spare my life, I'll do anything you ask. He'd genuinely been scared out of his wits by me. I'd not only one-shot Prince Devon with his over 20 million health, but I'd also had him locked firmly in place for a full 10 minutes, draining 40,000 of his health every second on top of that. Back when he was a professional, he'd witnessed plenty of S-rank talents, but never one this monstrous. Right now, he had zero intention of trading blows with me. His whole mind was fixed on how to hurry up and escape. Fine, I nodded. Then first tell me how you fell to this state, and what exactly this Great Rift Dark Council is. When I'd read that line of description in his attributes, I had a hunch. This Great Rift Dark Council was definitely no good bunch. Back when I was a professional, I was a king, Amoth said quickly. Then the Great Rift invaded. My entire kingdom was wiped out, and everyone in it, from top to bottom, turned into undead. Just like the Eternal Kingdom now. I asked back. More or less. His expression turned a bit awkward. But I don't know that much about the Great Rift either. I only know they've always been searching for a way to become the true undead race. Qin Sanjin couldn't help but cut in. Aren't you all the undead race? We're only undead, not the undead race. Amoth deliberately emphasized this again. I nodded, then asked curiously, so, did you find the way? I suppose we did find it. A troubled look crossed Amoth's face, and he confirmed with me once more. If I tell you, will you really spare me? He knew the dark affinity types all too well. Every last one of them was the sort who never kept their word. Especially an undead summoner as powerful as me. In his eyes, my heart had probably long since turned as black as charcoal. Don't worry. I patted my chest, my face all righteousness. I'm a spotless, pure young man, an honest and reliable good lad. I always keep my word. No matter how Amoth listened, he didn't believe it. Sun Yuerong, standing off to the side, could barely hold back her laughter. I swear, I added. All right. Amoth still had 10,000 misgivings. But right now he was the fish on the chopping block and I held the knife. So he had no other choice. According to our research, using tainted holy light blood, we can refine the perfect contract vessel. Wait. I suddenly cut him off. You said, refine a contract vessel. Little Mina was taken by you for exactly this, wasn't she? Yes. Amoth nodded. Because holy light blood runs in her veins. So that's how it is. I nodded, and then, all at once, murderous intent surged onto my face. So then why did you dig out her heart? Sun Yuerong and Qin Sanjin's fury flared up along with mine. Because little Mina wasn't the only one who'd suffered. So many other children had had their hearts cut out and organs dug out by this guy. And some had even ended up served on his dinner table. This. Amoth instantly sensed something was off and hurriedly cried out. You just said you'd spare me. Ah, right, I forgot about that. I nodded, then turned and leaned over to Qin Sanjin's ear, muttering a couple of words in a low voice. You got it, Daddy Yong. Qin Sanjin shot Amoth an excited glance and turned to run out the door. Yongshin, are you really going to spare this guy? Sun Yuerong was a little worried. After all, killing this guy was a hard requirement of the National Fortune Quest. Does a fire in your pants mean it's hot? Of course. I nodded with a smile. Not long after, the neighing of a horse came from outside. Then Qin Sanjin walked in leading a lion horse. Commander Qin, what are you leading a horse in here for? Sun Yuerong looked puzzled, but Amoth was thrilled beyond words. My friend, you're a true stand-up guy, even preparing a lion horse for me. I'll definitely repay you handsomely someday. Ricky and his group snapped out of it by now, every one of their faces changing dramatically. Lord Shinyong, are you going to let Amoth go? Of course. I did swear an oath. I gave a calm smile and turned back to look at Amoth. See that? The horse is all ready for you. Next, I'll set you free with a horse. Amoth nodded excitedly, but privately he was already scheming. Once I've gotten away, I'll definitely have the Dark Council send heavy forces back to kill them all. My lord, you absolutely must not. Ricky was so anxious his face had gone white. Sun Yuerong was frantic too, about to speak up again. Amoth, meanwhile, waited full of anticipation for me to release him from that white bone-spiked prison. Slap. But instead, I whipped my hand around and gave that horse's rear a hard smack. Nay. The lion horse, stung with pain, reared up on its hooves and bolted straight out the door at a mad gallop. The whole room was dumbfounded. Amoth was even more bewildered. My friend, what's the meaning of this? Why'd you drive the horse away? I'm setting you free with a horse. I gestured toward the doorway. What's that supposed to mean? Amoth was completely stumped. Ricky, Yima, and the others were all at a loss too. Only Sun Yuerong let out a puff of laughter. She hadn't expected that to spare a horse I'd been talking about was meant literally, letting a horse go free. Translator's note. In Chinese, spare your life/let you off is fang ni yigma, which literally reads as release a horse for you. The joke is that instead of sparing a moth, he literally set a horse loose. Are you damn blind? Qin Sanjin was instantly displeased. My daddy Young just released a horse for you, didn't you see? That was my horse. Oh hell. Only then did a moth catch on. You're talking about that horse? Yep. I nodded solemnly. Sure, it's only a lion horse, but at least it's got horse blood running through it. You. Amoth was so furious his whole skull was trembling. Ricky and his crew stared in even greater disbelief. Were Dark Affinity mages all this devoid of morals? As long as they were dead set on killing you, even after swearing a vicious oath, they could find 10,000 excuses for themselves. Pretty pleased with yourself, huh? I raised an eyebrow and spoke coolly. Don't celebrate just yet. I've got something coming up that'll make you even happier. Sanjin, break out your special move. Heart sashimi. You got it, young daddy. Qin Sanjin sneered and pulled out that signature little skinning knife of his again. No, don't come over here. You have killed the level 40 undead necromancer mode and gained 1,091,230 experience points. National Fortune Quest, Battle of Sohei City, complete. Personal rewards, 500,000 experience, 1 level 40 epic equipment, 100 fortune contribution points. National reward, 100 imperial fortune. World class change quest complete. Reward, world class change card, unique. Use it. Warning, this action is irreversible. The moment I saw the panel, I didn't hesitate and hit yes. I'd risked my life this whole time for exactly this. The card that would let me class change into a world tier profession. Class change successful. Necromancer of the Dead, unique. Stored experience withdrawn. Level raised to 60. Level cap reached. Overflow experience stored. Second class change quest, Soul of the Lich, triggered. Find the fallen Dark Lich and slay it. Reward, second class change certificate. Maxed out again. I froze for a second, then thought it over. Yeah, that checks out. Sohei City had over 50,000 undead knights, more than 10,000 troops in the Calamity Army, and close to 1 million zombies. Sure, I hadn't wiped out all million zombies, but combined with the experience I'd banked earlier, it had to be at least 200 million. Hitting level 60 was totally normal. And this post-max class change quest was obviously just the follow-up for the Necromancer of the Dead. The regular class change is called Intermediate Undead Summoner, but mine is called Necromancer of the Dead. Clearly, I'm no longer limited to summoning undead. Anything that isn't a living thing can become my minion. And a Necromancer doesn't just summon, they can also study spells. Mages, warlocks, all those can eventually fall under the Necromancer's domain. I didn't rush to think it all through. First, I pulled up my own attribute panel. Qin Yong, Necromancer of the Dead, unique, level 60. HP 48,100. Mana 69,560,000. Spirit 696,000. Magic defense also as high as 696,000. Free attribute points, nearly 1 billion. Skills, Skeleton Summon has evolved into Graveyard of the Dead. Skeleton Mage Summon has evolved into Mage Tower of the Dead, plus Bone Spike Prison. Talent, F-rank duplicate. For every additional 5,000 spirit, 1 extra summon can be called. Talent, Special Protection of the Dead, cannot be upgraded. The instant the class change succeeded, my attributes straight up doubled. Everything broke past 400,000. If I equipped level 60 gear and learned a few passives, breaking 2 million in a single stat would be no problem. But the real kicker was that both my summoning skills had evolved, and I'd scored a brand new special class talent for free. I opened up that special talent and took a look. Protection of the Dead, 50% physical damage immunity, 50% magic damage immunity, 50% true damage reduction, skills ignore dodge, immune to all crowd control effects. I couldn't help but blurt out, holy cow. This is what a world tier profession looks like. This is what a real talent looks like. My magic defense was high, sure, but back in the day, when I ran into magic penetration and true damage, I still got wrecked. Magic pen is calculated as a percentage, so against an opponent stacked full of it, Even the highest magic defense becomes decoration. True damage is even more shameless. Not only does it make defense useless, it flat out ignores whatever shields you've got layered on. One stab and you're done. That's why physical and magic damage immunity are the truly aristocratic stats, and true damage reduction is a treatment fit for royalty. But even more precious than that were the ignored dodge and immune to crowd control. That crowd control immunity especially, it's as sweet and thoughtful as a devoted daughter. From now on, I never have to worry about getting locked down again. Otherwise, if I ever ran into some sadistic old sneaky bastard who could hard lock me for 10 minutes, I'd end up exactly like a mode. Pinned in place, helpless while that little knife went slice, slice, slice. Real clever. Next, I looked at the 2 evolved summoning skills. Graveyard of the Dead costs 500 mana. Summons a Graveyard of the Dead gate, from which emerge 144 skeleton warriors and 144 skeleton berserkers. Lasts 12 hours. Oh my sweet lord. The moment I read that line, my scalp went numb. One skill upgrade bumped the base summon count to 5 and doubled the unit types from 1 to 2. On that alone, the Necromancer of the Dead was already broken. But my F-rank talent was even more shameless, because it duplicates unit types, not summon casts. This thing basically wears the label of the trashiest talent while pulling off the most overpowered nonsense. The other skill was cut from the same cloth. Mage Tower of the Dead costs 500 mana. Summons a Mage Tower of the Dead gate, from which emerge 144 skeleton intermediate ice mages and 144 skeleton intermediate fire mages. Lasts 12 hours. What the hell? Staring at the panel, I honestly didn't know what to say. I hadn't even spent a single attribute point yet, and my power had already exploded fourfold. If I dumped all of those nearly 1 billion attribute points in, I'd unlock several more skeleton unit types. By then, how many skeletons could I summon in one breath? No, wait. The Necromancer of the Dead can summon all undead creatures. Doesn't that basically mean one person, can summon an entire world? That's a bit much. Other profession holders probably won't even be able to play the game anymore. And those bosses in the secret realms? Heh, the moment you dare show a health bar, I won't even give you the chance to kneel and beg for mercy. I was excitedly running the numbers when a scream suddenly hit my ears. Daddy, no. Crap, what's going on? I instinctively looked up and glanced around, and saw a little girl in a white dress running and screaming through the great hall. Meanwhile, Ricky was chasing after her like some pervert, his face lit up with excitement. Don't run. Let Daddy give you a hug. Ah, Daddy, stay away. The little girl in the white dress fled in a panic. Obviously, now that a mode was dead, little Mina's soul had popped up out of nowhere. But what puzzled me was, why was this little girl running? That was her own father, after all. Splat. Little Mina suddenly took a spill on the flat ground. Ricky closed the distance in a few strides and was just about to grab her hand. Bang, bang, bang. A burst of white light suddenly exploded off little Mina's body, and her figure rapidly began to fade, on the verge of disappearing entirely. Whoa, oh crap. My expression changed, and I sprinted over and delivered a kick. Boom. Ricky got kicked flying 4 or 5 meters on the spot. Chin Sanjin, who'd had his head down looting corpses, jolted awake and instinctively yanked out his greatsword. Sun Yuerong looked over with a puzzled expression too, and the Silver Knights, standing guard nearby, all gripped their sword hilts in unison. Ricky rubbed his backside, his face full of grievance. Lord Shinyong, what was that for? For being an idiot. My face was dark. You dumbass. You just about scattered your own daughter's soul into oblivion. Huh. Ricky, terrified, quickly looked toward his daughter. Little Mina had already hidden behind me, and she said timidly, Daddy, there's a huge fire all over you. I'm scared. What fire? There's nothing. Ricky looked himself over in total confusion. I explained, still stone-faced. To the undead, holy light is a body-scorching blaze. You're a paladin. Why'd you go and try to touch her? You can't keep your hands to yourself. Little Mina nodded again and again. But the instant she turned to look at me, she suddenly screamed again. Big brother, I've seen you before. Come again. I was totally confused. Mina and I had only crossed paths in the dungeon, and that was the system's projection, not the real her at all. Little Mina hurriedly explained. When I was locked in the box, I kept having the same dream. In the dream, I was back in the town, tied up on the high platform in the square, surrounded by monsters. And that big villain Amode was there too. I saw so many people come to the town to fight monsters, and every time I begged them to save me, but nobody paid me any attention. Not until I met you. Big brother. You not only killed every last monster, you even helped me find my earrings. After hearing all that, I was completely stunned. That plague town was clearly something the system had built piece by piece based on Mina's dream. You have to understand, the timeline is different in every world. Here in Great Sheen, that plague town dungeon had existed for thousands of years. But on the Eternal World's timeline, Mina had only been an undead for a little over a decade. In other words, when I accepted this quest, the system directly opened up the Eternal Kingdom and forcibly fused the two timelines together. Being able to blend a certain stretch of time from two worlds like that, badass, doesn't even begin to cover it. I honestly couldn't imagine which mastermind had created this system. I was still marveling to myself when I suddenly heard Qin Sanjin's shriek. Young daddy, it dropped. Your purple skill book. For real. Meanwhile, in Yunyang City, at the entrance to the Eternal Kingdom's secret realm, the crowd had more than doubled from before. Besides Yunyang City's local legion, legions from neighboring cities had also rushed over. Even the four super legions of Great Qin, Xingjing, Yingtian, Dongdu, and Yuzhou, had sent people, led personally by the vice-deans of the three great academies, no less. There was no helping it. My performance had been too monstrous. In just a single day, I'd chewed through nearly a third of the National Fortune main quest. Even with Yozhou's Queen Yuhongyi holding the front line, these three vice-deans had no choice but to bite the bullet and horn in. Handing over such a juicy prize to someone else was something they absolutely couldn't stomach. Besides, they'd originally planned to come lend a hand and work the quest together. After all, Savior-tier National Fortune quests were incredibly rare. In over 2,000 years, Great Qin had only ever activated a handful of them. In their eyes, I might have gotten lucky clearing the first phase, but there was no way I could gnaw through the rest. On top of that, I still had a world-class change quest to do. So they'd picked several thousand people from the four military academies. The dungeon level was capped at 30, but the four legions' lowest members were all level 40. Yozhou's Queen Yuhongyi didn't come. The one who showed up was a Yuzhou legion captain named Zheng Zeixi, a rather sleazy-looking guy. He eyed the three vice-deans with a smile that never reached his eyes. Even Senior Yu has stepped in personally, and you three still won't give up? Lu Qijuan of Yingtian Academy gave a cold snort. You're celebrating too early. Qinyong hasn't agreed to go over to your side yet. Gao Shangji of Shengjing Academy pushed up his glasses too. The game's not over. Anyone can still be a dark horse. Huang Longhua stroked the knife scar on his face and grinned wickedly. As I recall, Senior Yu already withdrew from the Yuzhou Legion, didn't she? That's right. Lu Qijuan's eyes lit up. There was quite a stir back then. Could it be Senior Yu and Qin Tianyi got divorced? Huang Longhua and Gao Shangji both immediately put on lecherous grins. Now that would be something. A seductive senior sister and a monstrous genius. If we could reel them both in at once, wouldn't that be sweet? Really got your heads in the clouds. Zheng Zeixi let out a soft laugh, his tone flat. Do you actually think Yuhongyi could sway the current head of the Qin clan? That one line left the three vice-deans deflated on the spot. If it were just one Yuzhou legion to deal with, maybe they could go a few rounds. But if Qin Tianyi shamelessly brought the full weight of the entire Qin clan to bear, they'd be in real trouble. These days Great Qin may have 100 schools of thought all contending, but the Qin clan could still tower over all rivals and look down on the whole world. One more thing, Zheng Zeixi continued. Haven't you noticed who Qinyong teamed up with? The three of them blanked for a moment. Then their faces filled with shock. Oh damn, Qin Sanjin. Haha. Zheng Zeixi smiled smugly. That kid's identity. I don't need to spell it out for you, do I? You people are absolutely shameless. Lu Qijuan was so furious his old face turned red. Not necessarily, Gao Shangji said, staying relatively calm and pushing up his glasses. From what I understand, Qinyong has a very stubborn streak, and with talent this high, he'll never be willing to be controlled by others. Brother Gao, seriously, stop dreaming. Zhang Zeixi patted him on the shoulder. No matter how stubborn he is or how high his talent, he can't get around the mountain that is the Qin clan, unless he's got a death wish. The three of them stiffened instantly, gritting their teeth. You really don't intend to act like decent human beings, do you? Ha ha ha. Zhang Zaixi's smile grew even smugger. It's all for Great Qin's sake. No need to talk so ugly. The three of them were still stone-faced, plotting their next move, when a burst of cold system notification suddenly rang out from within that black portal. Congratulations. The Eternal Kingdom main quest boss, Great Sorcerer Mode, has been slain. Boss battle duration, 10 minutes. Killing party members, Qin Sanjin, level 20 warrior, Chun Yong, level 60 necromancer of the dead, Sun Yuerong, level 35 ranger. National Fortune Quest, Dawn of the Eternal Kingdom. Second phase, Battle of Sohei City complete. Great Qin's national fortune increases by 100. This announcement is hereby made to all Great Qin profession holders. Holy SH. The instant that announcement dropped, nearly every profession holder in all of Great Qin cried out this congratulatory message for me, the protagonist, in perfect unison. Right after that, profession holders across the entire nation absolutely blew up. And I mean completely blew up. Damn, how the hell is this even possible? Report him, this guy is definitely cheating. 2 days after his class change, and he hit level 60? What do you take us for, idiots? The profession holders from my own cohort were especially crushed. They were still grinding away at levels 3 and 4, while over here I was already level 60. You have to understand, going from level 1 to level 60 takes nearly 200 million experience. But that crowd of fangirl worshippers only got more obsessed. If you suck, go grind more. Where do you get the nerve to question my young daddy? Exactly. Jealousy will only twist your faces up beyond recognition. Over at the secret realm entrance, those few vice deans were completely dumbstruck too. In half a day, the second phase of the National Fortune Quest was done. He'd single-handedly completed the world class change and shot straight up to level 60. Even with the system announcement laid out in black and white right before their eyes, their hearts were still pounding. This was too impossible, too unbelievable. You have to understand, in the more than 5,000 years since the eerie calamity descended, the number of people worldwide who'd pushed a savior tier National Fortune Quest to its second phase couldn't even fill 2 digits. And yet I'd finished it all by myself. Where were these old geezers supposed to put their faces now? Sure, there were still 2 other names on the team, but in their hearts they'd firmly decided those 2 were just mascots. Sun Yuerong's purple talent wasn't even enough to qualify for the Imperial Legion, and Qin Sanjin, though he had a gold talent, was so far off that he couldn't even match a halfway decent red talent. So they were convinced this was all my doing alone. But this feat, how exactly had it been pulled off? Never mind everything else. Just 200 million experience in half a day was something they couldn't wrap their heads around no matter how they tried. A real monster. Zhang Zeixi was staring in shock too, but he quickly snapped out of it and hurriedly pulled out his phone to make a call. A monster on this level was beyond what he, a mere captain, could handle. He had to report to Qin Tianyi. Almost simultaneously, the 3 vice deans also turned and pulled out their phones to make calls. Nobody was willing to let a genius like this slip away. In Yuzhou, inside a luxurious office, Qin Tianyi was leaning back comfortably in his chair, eyes closed. The phone on his desk suddenly rang. He picked it up. Speak. The next second, his eyes snapped open. What? He hurriedly opened the computer on his desk, and the screen immediately popped up a piece of news the system had automatically pinned. Great Sorcerer Mode slain. Second phase National Fortune Quest complete. Great Qin's national fortune up by 100. And among the killing party members, Chen Yong, level 60 necromancer of the dead, was written in plain sight. My God! The little secretary beside him gaped, her small mouth hanging open. Level 60 in half a day, plus completing the National Fortune Quest and the world class change. How on earth did he do it? Get out! Qin Tianyi, humiliated into a rage, kicked the little secretary aside. She smoothed out her uniform and her long hair and ran out, her face full of grievance. Only then did Qin Tianyi speak into the phone. For now, you guard the secret realm exit. The moment that kid comes out, use every means possible to get him over here to Yuzhou to see me. Yes, Legion Commander. Zheng Zhaixi agreed, then hesitated. But those 3 dogs are here too. I'm worried he might call in reinforcements. Don't worry. They won't be able to make it. Understood. After hanging up, Qin Tianyi called the little secretary back and put on a gentle, amiable expression. Xiaohong, did that fall hurt just now? No. No. The little secretary shook her head, still scared. Qin Tianyi pulled her into his arms. That was my fault. I shouldn't have taken it out on you just now. The little secretary instantly burst into aggrieved tears. Tianyi-ji, Xiaohong is so scared you'll send me away. How could I? Qin Tianyi comforted her gently. Xiaohong is so capable. How could I bear to? Once he'd coaxed her back to calm, he gave an instruction. Go make a trip yourself and notify the 3 Legion commanders of Shengjing, Yingtian, and Dongdu. Tell them to come discuss the matter of the East Sea Secret Realm. The East Sea Secret Realm? The little secretary was startled. Wasn't that shelved because of the World National War? Shelved? Yes, but we can't give up on it. Qin Tianyi gave a soft sigh and patted her. Go on now. Come back quickly. Okay, Tianyi-gij. The little secretary planted a coquettish kiss on his cheek, then stood and straightened her clothes before heading out the door in high spirits. But the instant she stepped out the main door, that pretty little face of hers instantly went cold. Inside the office, Qin Tianyi's face was dark too as he tapped his finger on the desk over and over. This kid is too monstrous. If he can't be made to serve the Qin clan, then he must be destroyed. He pulled out his profession card and swiped to a name. Number 8. Set aside whatever you're doing. Come back and prepare for the East Sea Secret Realm National War. The reply came back in one word. Okay. Only then did Qin Tianyi let out a breath, a trace of a mocking, cold smile surfacing on his face. Yu Hongi, sorry, but this time, you still won't get away. Deep in Eagle Mountain, inside a crude little wooden cabin, Yu Hongi was bent over the table, tidying things up. She wore a red lace nightgown, and her alluring figure was enough to hold any man's gaze. But if anyone got a clear look at what she was tidying in her hands, even the hungriest man would probably drop to the floor in fright. It was all the medium items used by wicked, seductive warlocks in their spellcasting. The least frightening thing in the whole pile was probably just that pair of red cloth shoes embroidered with golden phoenixes. Master, there's news. A woman in red walked out of the room, none other than the red paper bride from before. Oh, Yu Hongi lazily took the profession card. But the moment she saw the message on it, her beautiful eyes flashed with a sharp light, and her sexy red lips curled up slightly. Little thing, looks like I really did underestimate you. She turned and gave an order. Xiao Yu, prepare a bath and redo my makeup. I'm going on a trip. Yes, master. The red paper bride drifted away. Only then did Yu Hongi look up, gazing at the portrait on the wall. In the painting was a mighty middle-aged man riding a tall white horse, clad in black and gold armor and holding a red-tasseled spear. Even with corpses strewn all around him and enemies swarming, there wasn't a trace of fear on his face. Father, she said softly. This time, Hongi thinks she's found the right person. I only hope it's not too late. At the very same moment, at Yuzhou Airport, Qin Bing was being tightly hugged by a beauty wearing an innocent-looking JK schoolgirl skirt. This girl was named Su Cha-Cha, Qin Bing's distant cousin and best friend. And true to her name, she was oozing that fake, sweet and innocent, scheming vibe from head to toe. Cha-Cha equals T, slang for a girl who acts sweet and innocent while secretly being calculating. Bingjia moi. Qin Bing pushed her away with a look of disgust. You're a grown woman, and you're still this fake sweet. Bingjia. Su Cha-Cha instantly pouted. I'm just happy to see you. How am I being fake? Qin Bing got goosebumps all over. Can we just talk normally? Sure we can. Su Cha-Cha giggled and linked arms with her. Bingjia, can I ask you a favor? What favor? Qin Bing frowned and preemptively refused. Taking you into the secret realm is a no-go. I'd like to live a few more years. Su Cha-Cha had a gold talent and was even a rare bishop healer, but she stubbornly harbored the heart of a damage dealer. She never bothered to heal properly. She just loved using her pitiful damage skills plus resurrection. And every time she rezzed someone, she'd add a line like, sorry, Appa, it's all because Cha-Cha's just too useless. But because she was the eldest young lady of the Su family of Yuzhou, absolutely nobody dared to lose their temper with her. Over time, no one dared team up with her anymore, and behind her back they all called her the poison healer. Bing Bingjia. Su Cha-Cha stomped her feet in indignation. I was just born dumb, okay? It's not on purpose, and even you look down on me. Fine, 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 I give up. Qin Bing hurried to stop her, looking helpless. Just tell me what it is. If it's something I can do, I'll try to help. It's something you will help with. Su Cha-Cha stubbornly corrected her. Fine, out with it. Qin Bing could only nod. Hee, Bingjia is the best. Su Cha-Cha was thrilled, then started to fidget bashfully. Bingjia, could you introduce Qin Yong to me? Uft. Qin Bing spat out a mouthful of water in disbelief. What did you say? You want me to introduce Qin Yong to you? MM. Su Cha-Cha nodded hurriedly. I want to hide my identity at first and be with him as an ordinary friend, so the feelings will be pure and genuine. You are unbelievably fake. Qin Bing couldn't help roasting her mercilessly. Qin Yong's story had long spread through every profession holder in Great Qin, so Su Cha-Cha obviously knew all about it. She was clearly approaching with impure motives. And yet she still insisted on talking about pure and genuine feelings. Put plainly, she just wanted Qin Yong to hand over his sincere heart first. Bingjia, you're so mean. Stop right there. Qin Bing hurried to rein in this scheming little thing. I only have his contact info. Anything beyond that, I can't help you with. Qin Yong's recent performance had genuinely surprised her, but it hadn't reached the point where she, a future Frost Lord, would bow her head. Besides, if Qin Yong failed to complete the world-class change, he'd ultimately be a flash in the pan, incapable of stirring up any real waves, not even enough to leave a ripple in her life. Yay. Su Cha-Cha excitedly pulled out her profession card. Quick, push Yonggij's profession ID to me. Qin Bing was utterly speechless. The guy's only 18, and you're nearly 28. Have you no shame? But she couldn't be bothered to dwell on it. Once a scheming little green tea, like Su Cha-Cha set her sights on a man, nobody could stop her from making a play. Besides, she herself had no feelings for Qin Yong to begin with, and if these two really did hook up, it might even help her fend off her own mother. But no sooner had she pushed over the profession ID than that profession card immediately popped up a message, precisely the announcement about a mode being slain, the second phase of the National Fortune quest being complete, and Qin Yong shooting up to level 60 in half a day. Qin Bing froze on the spot. Killing the Secret Realm's main quest boss in half a day, completing the National Fortune quest and world-class change in half a day, level 60 in half a day? This has to be a joke, right? Could this be the sheer pressure of so-called Emperor tier potential? Yay! Su Cha-Cha, on the other hand, jumped up in excitement. My hubby's so amazing. Another Secret Realm boss first kill. She hugged the photo of Qin Yong on the profession card, kissing and nuzzling it. Hubby, Cha-Cha misses you so much. Hubby, you're so handsome. Watching from the side, Qin Bing was utterly speechless, and deep down she was already starting to regret handing Qin Yong over to this scheming girl so easily. Meanwhile, in the Secret Realm Hall of the World Alliance, because Great Qin's national fortune value had suddenly spiked, a huge crowd of profession holders gathered beneath the Fortune Monument, buzzing with discussion. The batch of profession holders from the Little Sun country especially were seething with indignation, insisting Great Qin was faking it. Little Sun country, derogatory Chinese nickname for Japan. After all, under normal circumstances, the fortune value crept up a point or two at a time. A single jump of 10 or more points meant a major national war had been fought. But this time, it had spiked a full 50 points at once, a whole fifth of the Little Sun country's total national fortune. How could they swallow that? Just as the profession holders of Great Qin and the Little Sun country were arguing fiercely, the Fortune Monument once again sounded that cold system notification. Notice, national fortune value change. Great Qin gains 100 points. Current national fortune value, 5,690. Holy crap, holy crap, holy crap. The entire hall echoed with a wave of holy crap-s. This time, forget the Little Sun country. Even Great Qin's own profession holders were dumbfounded. A full 100 national fortune points. Even a major national war would have to be fought 3 or 4 times over. If you tried to grind it out through assassination quests, it'd take dozens. One little Sun Country profession holder jumped up on the spot. Baka, you despicable Great Sheen people, you're definitely cheating. Immediately, a Great Sheen profession holder fired back. Baka your mother. Isn't this exactly how fortune value goes up? You people slander us with your eyes wide open all day long. Do you have any idea how hard it is for us Great Sheen brothers to do these quests? Exactly, thousands of years, and you're still a bunch of morons. Take a look at your own failings. Did you even do the quests seriously? If you suck, go grind more. Envying others every single day. No wonder you people can't grow tall. The several Little Sun Country members were instantly shut down, not daring to make a peep. They knew in their hearts that while Great Sheen's profession holders were split into several factions, when it came to presenting a united front against outsiders, especially when it came to putting them in their place, they were incredibly unified. What's more, they also understood the fortune value simply couldn't be faked. They just felt bitter watching Great Sheen surge by so much. And the moment they opened their mouths, they'd set off the Great Sheen folks. Meanwhile, inside the Little Sun Country's Prime Minister's residence, the guy called Doglick Sniffchest was slamming the table in fury. Baka, what in the world is going on? Why has Great Sheen gained another 100 national fortune points? A deliberately mocking, absurd name for the character. Immediately, a little Japanese man stepped forward to explain. Lord Doglick, according to intel relayed back by our infiltrator Lord Red Moon, Great Sheen appears to be undertaking a savior-tier national fortune quest. Red Moon-chan. Doglick Sniffchest perked up. When did she send this back? Any other news? Yes, the little Japanese man said hurriedly. She says another genius on par with Sheen the ancestral dragon has emerged in Great Sheen, also with a mythical tier profession named Chunyong. Nanny, Doglick Sniffchest's face changed drastically. Damn it, Great Sheen's national fortune is far too strong. For emperors they have Sheen the ancestral dragon. For generals they have you, Han, and Hua. And now a mythical tier profession holder, Chunyong, has popped up. They really aren't leaving us any way to survive. His old face darkened. We absolutely cannot let him keep growing. Issue the order. Prepare for the East Sea National War. We must strangle this Chunyong in his cradle. Hi.